Clerk, if you read the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Present.
Mr. Gatlin?
Present.
Mr. Schauber?
Here.
Ms. Lang?
Here.
Mr. T. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Prater?
Here.
Mr. Dickel?
Present.
Mr. R. Smith?
Present.
Mr. Rollins?
Present.
President Stoneburner?
Present. Present. And account. All right. Next we'll go to our invocation. We have Pastor Steve Estep here from the Nazarene.
Father, we come to you tonight with hearts that are very grateful, but also very mindful of how much we need your help. We pray that you will bless this council and our administration, our mayor, with all of the incredible challenges that they are facing, first and foremost on the financial front. I pray for your provision and for your wisdom. We lift up our city employees, who many of whom are pretty anxious right now about a future that seems kind of uncertain. And I thank you for the peace that you give that passes all understanding, and I pray that it will be very real to each and every one of them. We are grateful, Father. We have so much to give you thanks for. Thank you for the gift of today. Thank you for the freedom and the health and the opportunity, the ability to even be here tonight. Most of all, we thank you for your Son, Jesus, and the life that can only be found in him. We're grateful for your love and pray that all during this week and beyond it, we'll be mindful of how many blessings you have poured out upon us, and we will truly be a people who are grateful and thankful. We pray this all in the beautiful name of Jesus.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, have you all had a chance to look through the summary of proceedings? With that, Mr. Smith.
I move we accept as submitted. With any corrections, the clerk may present to us. I think he's been made aware of a few corrections.
We move to accept the minutes, and Mr. R. Smith, do you have a second?
What was made aware?
What was made aware?
When I asked the AI to pull out the roll call that we need to have in there, yeah,
It went to the last meeting.
it went to the last meeting and said that Mrs. Stoneburner wasn't here and Mr. Prater wasn't here.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And then there was a similar omission when it came to some votes. The vote was right, but the name, one of the names was missing. Council. So those are details that you've already been made aware of. Okay. Anything else from council? All right.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
No.
Mr. Schauber?
No.
Ms. Lang?
No.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
No.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
No.
Fails 4-0.
Yeah, fails 4-5. Okay, so we'll come back to those next week. Old business, item number 1, ordinance 2025-104, commercial building code.
Ordinance requesting certification to enforce the state of Ohio building codes as to commercial building codes within the city of Marion as amended.
Mr. Dickel?
This came out of legislation. This is about the enforcing the building codes and using a third party to do that. It goes hand in hand with the next ordinance we're going to be talking about. I believe Mr. Shaver is here tonight. He was requested to be here and has a few things to say, and I don't know if anybody else has any comments.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yep. The only thing I will add to this, if we want to let Mr. Schaefer speak afterwards in the public, I think we made a good amendment to it 2 weeks ago. We've heard it three or four times now. I do think that it's a good piece. It's a good ordinance that's worth giving a shot for at least the next year, and seeing what happens after that. There could be it's low risk, could be a good reward if it turns out working the way the company says it will work out, working a little easier than the state. So that's all I have to add to it. And I would make a motion to suspend unless anybody else has conversation.
Second.
Okay, motion to suspend and a second from Mr. R. Smith. Suspend the 3 readings, this being the second one right now. Any other discussion? So we have Mr. Shaver come up first. And,
We have a motion on the floor.
okay, so you want to do the motion for the
I'll make a motion for the evening to let anybody outside of the city speak.
Second. Second.
We have a second from Mr. Dickel, Mr. Ratliff, Mr. Dickel, allowing people outside the city to speak.
Okay.
Mr. T. Smith?
We have a motion on the floor for suspension and a second, I'm pretty
Right.
sure.
Yeah, we need to do the suspension first and then the permitting people to speak.
Okay. Are you ready for the suspending 3 readings?
Mr. Barr?
Abstain.
Mr. Ratliff?
No.
Mr. Schauber?
No.
Ms. Lang?
No.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
No.
Mr. Dickel?
No.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
No.
Okay. Motion fails again.
261.
Yeah, 261. 2, 4, 6. Against.
Another motion to permit people outside the city to speak.
Yes. Motion to permit.
Madam President, people in the back are indicating that they can't hear either one of you guys, so I just want to make that clear.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor and a second in order to allow people from outside Marion City to come to the podium and speak on this issue of the commercial building code.
Just for clarification, is it just this issue or all issues?
I just
for
said
the
for the evening.
He said for the
Oh, he
evening.
did say for the evening. Thank you. Okay, let's take a roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Shaver, you'd like to come up and speak on this before we move on to 105?
Thank you for having me again. You've heard from me a lot here. I do want to say that there's probably some credit due here for the time that the council and the citizens have spent on this matter. I think this process is positive. I happen to agree with Mr. Smith concerning the 1-year contract limitations. That's most of my other contracts are that time frame too. I firmly believe that's a good time frame for people to perform or not continue on. So I think that that's an excellent time frame. So thank you. I appreciate this deliberation. I was asked by someone to come and speak tonight and to kind of clarify and address some of the concerns that have been expressed by City Council and some of the concerns that have been expressed by various citizens and groups. And I refer to the letters in the agenda here. Those are the ones that I'm mainly concerned with. And I think that I want to try to provide some context and add some information to those concerns here. One of the things that has been brought up here is local participation, which I think is actually a positive thing. I can say this, that for a variety of reasons, as a building service provider, I prefer local participation. That's how I prefer to do it when possible. We have a team of 4 associates that are either primary or backup chief building official inspectors or plans examiners that would be assigned to Marion. From the very beginning, when I responded to the city's RFP, 2 of those associates were local. The primary electrical inspectors from Richwood over in Union County, about 20 minutes southwest of here. And the backup building mechanical, and he's also the backup electrical inspector. He's actually from Marion County. He lives just south of the city limits here. My firm, we select associates based on expertise, qualifications, and experience. That's primarily how we select the people that work with us. But locality is important for service quality. They can be here more quickly, and for financial reasons. So again, it's less expense, to be quite honest, and so it's there's some reasons that we do that. And so the more, as I indicated, the more local presence we have, the better I think we perform. And so again, as I've kind of mentioned before, our electrical inspectors have decades of experience as electricians and code officials, and those folks will perform 30 to 40% of all the inspections in the city. So the fact that we have some local people here, I think, is a positive thing. I want to talk about construction economics here for just a few minutes. Construction has some unique financial risk. A large amount of the costs during constructions are, I'll just say, use the word financed by both general contractors and subcontractors. For example, if you have some rooftop mechanical equipment, that equipment is ordered and paid for long before the installation and approval for which they are paid. So please understand that contractors are extending themselves financially in a fairly large manner. Delays, well, they just increase cost. Longer rental for equipment and general conditions items such as dumpsters, portable toilets, and trailers, those costs add up, they eat into profits. Bonding, capacity, labor, and equipment allocation are all dedicated to a project and are not necessarily easily transferable or moved around. And those allocated costs are actually opportunity costs. What that means is these contractors can't really pursue work, for example, if they're bonded out. They have a bonding capacity, and if they're bonded out, and this is all the work they can pursue, this is it. They cannot pursue any more work. So simply put, they can't get the next job because they're stuck on the present job. And so if there are delays, that can have an impact. Contractors sometimes work on short-term loans for each project, and so delays in cash flow impacts the ability to pay those short-term loans back. So the delays are critical, and they can be problematic from a financial standpoint. There's an organization called Construct Connect. It's a commercial construction data and resource group. They cooperate with the American Institute of Architects and the American General Contractors, and they report that from last year, 2024 to 2025, over the course of a year, in the United States, there was a $1 billion increase, 32.4% year over year, in renovation and revitalization projects. The number of these renovation and revitalization projects are expected to grow another 100 billion over the next 5 years. And so, someone might ask, well, why is all this growth in renovation and revitalization projects taking place? High interest rates, the economist for Construct Connect says high interest rates, more people working from home, that means lower commercial office space demand, lack of housing, particularly affordable housing, and just really a changed post-COVID economy are some of the reasons. Forbes actually predicted this trend in 2020, so it's been coming for a long time, and we've actually been aware of it as building officials for quite some time ourselves. In one of the other jurisdictions I work in, 96% of all permits are for renovation and revitalization. It's alterations, change of use, additions, maintenance, and repairs. For the city of Marion for 2024, 85% of your permits were for renovation and revitalizations. 85%. Only 15% were for new construction. even in other counties where I'm contracted, such as Union County, it's really that split's only about 50-50. And so even that's considered, this ratio of new construction, even as high as it is in that area, is actually considered a little abnormal, to be honest. So I think that we have a growing trend of mixed-use renovations. They consist of it's mixed use. That means there's multiple uses housed under one roof: retail, housing, office, healthcare. And the chief economist, Michael Guckes for Construct Connect, indicates that, or states, renovation allows buyers to purchase existing property, often at a hefty discount, while also minimizing labor and material costs. While this combination of advantages remains, we expect the elevated returns on renovation to drive activity higher. So the reality here is that renovations and revitalization projects are going to be important in every jurisdiction, no matter where you are in the United States. As we've discussed in past meetings, these type of projects represent unique challenges in design, construction, and building code application and interpretation. They're just more difficult. Now I want to talk a little bit about the community input that you have. At this time, there are 3 letters affiliated with the agenda. One from Downtown Marion Incorporated, the Marion Area Chamber of Commerce, and a gentleman named Mr. Brad Belcher. If it's Belker, I apologize if I misstated his last name. But all these letters have some common themes. These organizations represent investors, employers, and small business owners. And although these individuals may not be here tonight, or they haven't appeared at all perhaps, these organizations represent the people who help add economic value to the community through investment and employment. The pizza shop owner, for example, that Mr. Smith spoke about last week, or 2 weeks ago, sorry. He may want to expand the menu and just simply grow his business, right? Future economic growth, people that may consider future economic growth may not appear. They haven't contemplated this yet. So maybe their voice isn't heard, but perhaps their voice is heard through some of the other organizations, such as Downtown Marion and the Marion Area Chamber of Commerce. Creating business enterprise ideas that have yet to explore. Those people may not be here and be represented. And again, I think some of these letters are intended to help represent people that may be thinking about starting a business but haven't yet. And history shows that small businesses can be successful and grow, and this is why small business enterprise is important to economic vitality in a community, no matter where you're at. The other thing that we realize that come from these letters is that permitting and inspections are a bottleneck with uncertain outcomes. This requirement creates barriers to growth, stalls revitalization, and discourages investment when these things exist. I was speaking with an acquaintance of mine last week who was on a small community city council, and he's a building inspector. His community is near a nationally recognized major construction project here in central Ohio. The city council, he indicated the city council realizes and coming to realize more every day that investors and developers want to eliminate as much uncertainty as possible. They want to make sure that if they put money into a project, they get that back out. His opinion is that developers will invest when there is local control over engineering, three main components: engineering, planning and zoning, and the building department. He indicated that, in his opinion, local control, the reason why is that local control, more accountability, and less bureaucracy are the keys to all of those organizations. And for success in eliminating this uncertain outcomes. As a designer for many years, what was really critical for me in the very beginning was actually, what are the rules? Can somebody just explain the rules to me? and the expectations. What does the municipality or the jurisdiction expect from me? And so even designers from the beginning, when they sit down to start putting a pencil to a piece of paper, they need to know what they're expected to do. And so that's critical, and a building department that's local can help convey those to people when it's needed. The letters acknowledge the importance of building safety, but the process needs to be timely, efficient, needs to reduce bureaucracy, and it needs to be clear and consistent. Safe buildings benefit all users in the community. Buildings are more usable, they're more valuable when they are code conforming. Many building department customers are infrequent or one-time users of these services. They may be inexperienced, unknowledgeable. That happens frequently, and we encounter that all the time as building officials. They may not use the building department, but maybe one time in their entire course of their business. And so there are some challenges for infrequent or one-time users. The process can be frustrating. It can be expensive. I mean, the gentleman may not even be able to sell one pizza until he gets his inspection, and it can be time-consuming. There is a lack of experienced designers, and there's a lack of skilled and experienced laborers and contractors. Those are kind of the environment we're working in today. What they really want is they want someone who they can call, they'll answer the phone, they'll meet on the job site when they're needed, and they just want somebody that can help them through this process because they just don't know. I think the users of the present system have probably had both good and bad experiences at the same time. Probably 15% of the users have had few or no problems. They go smoothly. But perhaps as many as 85% of your users may find it difficult because they are those one-time users or they're engaged in renovation or revitalization projects.
Can I ask where those numbers come from?
Which numbers?
Your 15 and 85?
Yeah, I went back to the Department of Industrial Compliance and actually counted up the permits. So that's from their records.
And it says which ones were good experiences and bad experiences?
Oh, no, I'm not suggesting that it's limited to those. They just tell you which ones are renovations and which ones are new construction.
Okay. I thought you said 15% were good experiences and 85 was bad. That's what I got from what you said.
Yeah, I apologize if that's what you took away from it. It's possible that if you have a straightforward new construction project, it may be much smoother for you. That may be a reality for you. If you have a more complicated alteration, change of use, addition, renovation, revitalization project where we tore down a wall and we found that we counted on having the flooding, for example, but we didn't have one. What now? What do we do? And so sometimes the projects get complicated just because of the type of project they are. And so that may not be a wholly good experience for that person. So I want to say that I think that really the analogy was, I think at the last meeting or the meeting before, we feel like we're trading one Columbus building department for another. And that might be true, but another way to look at this is, I think you're trading one building department that you have really little or no local control over for another building department where you might. And where you might be able to actually have a positive impact and help people through this process. I think that might be really a more apt type of a scenario here. One of the last things the letters sort of made clear was that they want to encourage investment, innovation, and they want to make it easier to open and expand businesses. They all want a more vibrant economy where job creation and competitiveness are the main outcomes. That's what I think all the letters indicate. And right now, for better or for worse, renovation and revitalization, that's the economic trend that we're in. And those are challenging projects. And I want to make one last point. I think that based on my conversation with my colleague a couple of weeks ago that was on the city council, the engineering, planning and zoning and the building departments, they kind of go hand in hand with economic development. Economic development helps find money, but the engineering, planning and zoning and building departments help execute that vision with the money. And so I think the two things kind of go hand in hand. And that's what I was, those are the only comments or remarks that I have this evening. I appreciate your time. Does anybody have any questions?
Mr. Ratliff?
I have a couple. One, you said you were asked to come and speak to us tonight. Can I ask who asked you to do that?
You can. I would not feel comfortable telling you who it is. It is a local citizen.
Mike Neff.
Okay. And then, so two meetings ago, I went through our minutes and I got the name of your organization and I looked. I couldn't find a website. I couldn't find any online reviews. I couldn't find where anybody had talked about your business, positive or negative. Mm-hmm. Now, I see you gave us a letter from Westerville City Schools that recommends you. It recommends Eric Shaver. Doesn't say anything about your business. So I called the state, and whoever I talked to at the state hadn't heard of it either. And if I'm looking to do research on your business, on what people you have helped say about it, where do I go? Because I can't find it anywhere.
Well, I don't have a website. That's absolutely true. You're right. I'm not sure who you spoke with at the state. I don't know. I am registered with the Secretary of State. I do have a limited liability corporation.
I did find that.
Okay, fantastic. So we know about that. Really, what you're kind of seeing is that letter from that letter that you're seeing from Westville City Schools is an endorsement of my work at the City of Westerville as an employee for them, and then also an endorsement for Blended Township Building Department, in which I think 2 or 3 schools lie in there in that jurisdiction.
Okay.
And so what you're seeing there is just really a reference letter for that.
Okay. So again, it's for you. This is a letter of recommendation for Eric Shaver. This letter is it says it right in there in
Sure.
bold twice. So again, to find any information about your business, it's not there, because I'm going to assume with the time you have invested, I think this is your 4th or 5th trip here, you anticipate getting this contract if this passes. At least I think that's, if I was you, if I had put as much time in as you have, I would assume I was going to get it. So again, before that we vote on this, I like to read as much as I can. I can find nothing about you anywhere.
What I would encourage you to do is, if Mr. Bodine would share with you my RFP, that provides a little bit more information about my company and what I do. That would probably be the most useful information that you could have at this time. That's what I would say.
Okay. I was trying to not get what you say about you. I was trying to get what others say about you.
There are some endorsements in that RFP as well.
Okay.
And you can see those. I cannot speak as to, because I just don't remember. But as I understand it, somebody with city staff called Blended Township Building Department, and they spoke with them, and to my knowledge, they had positive things to say.
Okay.
That's what I can say.
Mr. Arseman?
Yes, I would like to ask the mayor, would it be possible if you could have Mr. Bodine give us a copy of that RFP?
Absolutely.
Mr. Dictel?
I have a question, but it's not for Mr. Shaver. I'm going to be honest, I was leaning towards a heavy no on this because I don't know that it's exactly what the city's looking for, but the 1 year review seemed like a reasonable accommodation. I've been in the printing business for about 50 years, and when someone messes with my suppliers and my people I depend on, it kind of rocks my world. One of my guys I've been working with for inkjet printing just retired after 25 years, and I got to find a new guy. So we've gotten some interesting letters and calls from people, from our local contractors who are doing renovations, where they have been harmed by not having a local building department. We've got also people here who say, things have been fine the way they are. I build a code, I don't worry about it, and my inspections go well. What I would like to hear from is any of the local developers, builders, that if this passes, even with a year, what harm would it cause you? What are you fearful of if this passes? What harm could this cause you and your business? That would be something I would like to hear if you have that information or would share that.
I'll step away, if
Sure.
that's okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Shaver. Ms. Fisher? Yes.
Lois Fisher, 790 Vernon Heights, Circle, Marion. In answer to your question, I agree with you. What harm could it do to make a change for a year? Because it hasn't worked well for a variety of people that you've gotten letters from. I know some of them. I don't know all the letters that you've gotten. I didn't send a letter. However, I would like to publicly state that I would like to have someone that I could call and say, look at this building. Does this wall have to stay? Does this have to go? Does this have to be done? And I don't get that. I used to get that 20 years ago. I used to get that from the state. I do not get that anymore. And the only reason I got it then was because he lived in Mansfield. He drove to Marion, and then he went on to Columbus. And I developed a relationship with him. So I would like to encourage that we now, and I have also, I want to tell you, I have also talked with contractors. I made it my point to talk to contractors. We're on very good terms as far as the ones that are, that think, I like things the way they are. But I'm going to reiterate one more time. Yeah, I know they like things the way they are. It's okay. I'm not against them, and they're not against me. It's just the difference is a contractor can pass it on to someone else. I can't pass it on to someone else. I can't pass my cost on to the next person. There's just so much you're going to get out of rent in building in downtown Marion. And that's just a fact. You can put $6 million into a building. Well, good for you if you can do that. Most of us can't do that. We have to put money into a building and have it pay back because there's a mortgage on it, because there's utility costs on it, because there's insurance on it. There's a variety of expenses on it, and we're responsible for it. A contractor, on the other hand, for a professional contractor, and I've talked with them and I've used them, and some of them are my very good friends, can go ahead and pass it on to me. If I hired a contractor, they can go ahead and pass it on to me and say, it's your cost. I can't control what the state does. Well, that affects me personally, financially, and it affects a great many people that are renovating, and as our speaker said, and I'm not familiar, we're not buddies, I haven't talked with him before, but it is factual that revitalization is, we're trying to preserve our community. It's 100 years old. I have a building, the Harding Center, it's 100 years old in 24. But it's an ongoing. It's not like, woohoo, I got it fixed. No, 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 folks. It's an ongoing expense. If you want to preserve your community, then you're going to vote to give this a try for a year. It's not going to hurt you, and the bottom line is, if we continue to do the same thing over and over again, you can't expect a different outcome. We have to try something different. We have to try to make some changes, because it is going to affect each and every one of us, and it's going to affect each and every one of our pocketbooks of the people that are locally trying to make these changes. And so I just encourage you, because I fully want to have somebody that I can come and talk to. And it's a year. It's 1 year, people. If it doesn't work, kiss it goodbye. You know? You at least you tried it, yes.
Yeah, this would expedite the process of revitalization and
Yes.
cut down on the expense.
Yeah, it would. It's just plain and simple. It's not rocket science. It's plain and simple. It would reduce the outgoing costs. And let me just say further, and I'm not knocking a department, I'm not knocking anything at the Columbus level, I'm just saying that if you have somebody sitting there in Columbus, and the only thing they have to look at is this plan. It's this sheet of paper. It's this plan that they have. They're not going to get out of their seat, and they're not going to come drive to Marion to look at this, because they're not going to get paid any more for it. They're just going to say, no, it has to go to adjudication. It has to go, no, I'm not going to approve this because it's not the way I want it. Whereas if we had somebody local, you could bombard him and say, why? And I think that's very important. It isn't that the guys in Columbus aren't doing their job, but their job is easier because they sit there all day long in their cubicle and they look at this. And yeah, you get used to calling the right guys if that's all they're doing. But when you want to adjudicate something, when you want to pass something that hasn't met exact standards, you want to see somebody, look, this building is 100 years old. You can't just say, do it this way, because somebody 50 years ago did it another way, and you didn't know they did it 50 years ago until you take down the first wall and you find it. You go, holy crap, there's something I didn't expect. And so then that's when you can call in somebody, that's where the local comes in. And I would just ask you to consider that 1 year is not going to be the end of the world. It's not going to cost the city. I know what the costs are. I and others, I think, are willing to pay a few more bucks to save hundreds of thousands. And so I would just, that's my spiel. And I just implore you to think about that, because it does come out of local dollars.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Mrs. R.?
Victoria Arndt, 410 Clover Avenue. I really like how she has just placed this in a way for us to think about the future again. I was a little late, I'm sorry about that, but here's my questions. When you're renovating 100-year-old buildings, again, you're dealing with the people down in Columbus. How are we renovating? Let me ask that. Are we going in for grants? Because when you do grants and you make changes on 100-year-old buildings, there are specifications that have to go, sometimes I have under the impression that it has to go down to, depending on where you're getting your monies, depending on who needs to look at it. And yes, Lois is correct. They look all day at these old renovations coming up, and they tell you what needs to be or not to be done. But they're the ones who really, if we're doing funding through them, we have to do it their way. And yet, you will know that I'm Dick's wife, and he has a 50, 60-year-old house. We've had to do a little bit of work here and there. And the people who come in with no building codes, it's of course not renovations entirely, they already are coded down in Columbus of what would pass what will not pass and how they'll sign off, especially on electrical. And that's 50-year-old house already, 60-year-old, I believe. So my idea to bring it to council is saying, I understand Lois's want and need, and there is somebody eventually, but then we got to look at, eventually, we're going to be looking at residential homes. Are we looking at commercial homes? When I worked in commercial, especially for a builder, it's a totally different code. If you're looking at grants and you're looking at renovating old things, then you're looking at some other thing. So one whole statement, and Mr. Barr, you work in construction, so everything has got its own code. Do we need a code here for Marion? No, we need to understand the various codes for the various things that people are doing. So we need to be careful tonight making a decision, and again, I'm going to go back to what I said last time. What do you want for your city as council people, for the people that you're listening to? What are we going to look at? Don't give it a generalization. We need to make a statement of what are we doing? Renovating 100-year-old buildings? We know we are. Are we renovating 100-year-old residential? That's a totally different thing. So we need to prepare.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Second reading?
Another speaker?
Good evening, Luke Henry, Henry
Oh, sorry.
Development Group. Hopefully you all got my letter I sent through the clerk here, so I won't reiterate everything in there. There's quite a lot of information. I shared a lot of personal experiences, some of which I had shared previously at the committee meeting. Some of it was just debunking a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding that's come through this conversation and trying to distill it down. I think that all of you have heard this and have, I think, understand, but I did also share publicly to try to dispel some of the misinformation that's also circulating around the community and has even been shared quite a lot at prior council meetings. And so, again, I won't reiterate all of that here, but in doing that process, I will also share that something I want to make very clear is that this is not only for folks that are doing bigger development projects at scale, like maybe Lois has done or what we have done, but also very much for the single business owner, the single building owner who hasn't had multiple iterations of this to try to learn the system. We've done almost 20 full-scale renovations for which we have submitted plans to the state of Ohio. I still get tripped up sometimes with the process and the inconsistencies between different plans examiners, between different inspectors that come. And imagine if you only had one shot. And so I had some folks comment like Emily Irie that owns Irie Dance Studio. They bought their building and they owned the business. They did some renovations. They had to navigate the state. Had a lot of challenges with that. Jamie Reif, who owns The Remnant Coffee and Tea. They also had did renovations to their building. They had one shot at it. They didn't have several times to learn the system. They only had one time to learn the system. And they tripped up, had a lot of challenges, wasted a lot of time, wasted a lot of money. And that's where, you know, Lois has shared, I've shared, just the value of being able to have someone like Mr. Shaver come through and do a pre-planning meeting, to have a discussion about here's what needs to happen, here's what needs to be submitted, here's what you can and can't do, rather than trying to do something and maybe it's done improperly, has to be redone, maybe plans are not prepared properly, all of that. And so having someone that is a small business owner, that is incentivized to help other small business owners, single building owners, as well as larger developers, both locally and from far away, would be immensely helpful. And, you know, I appreciate Mr. Ratliff's questioning in terms of trying to do some vetting on the company and the individual. And I understand there's certainly not as much information out there as with Safe Built or some of the very large companies that do this type of work as a third-party building department. But to me, that is a benefit that we are getting a small business owner, somebody that's newer on the journey, is hungry for the work, wants to work with a local community, wants to work with local business owners, small developers, and wants to make an impact by using his architectural knowledge, being a registered architect, as well as his construction experience, and trying to marry those together for the benefit of the city of Marion. And I think there is a lot to be said for the benefit that this would provide. I cannot understate how much I think that this would benefit the city and the business owners and the building owners. This is not, if I only thought that this was going to benefit me, I would not be here in front of you asking for it to be done. Will it benefit me? Yes, I believe that it will, in simplifying the process, hopefully making future projects more efficient. I am not exaggerating when I tell you that we have wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars dealing with the state and the challenges that have come with that. Our Lydia project, you all have heard of that, you're familiar with it. It's a $3.5 million project. Do you know how much money just in carrying costs? Contrary to popular belief, I do not have $3.5 million that I invested in that. That is from the bank, and they charge interest. And 1 month's carrying cost is over $10,000. And so a delay of 30 days costs $10,000. And so that's why I say, yes, okay, if a permit costs me $1,200 instead of $900 by using this, it's no additional cost to the city. It is a little bit of an additional cost to me, but can you imagine when I look at the overall economics of efficiency, simplicity, streamlining the process, not have additional carrying costs? That's just the bank loan, let alone utilities and builder's risk insurance that's thousands of dollars, and I mean all kinds of other costs that add up, because we are not only a developer but the contractor. So I'm speaking from both perspectives, and I do know that there's been contractors, as some have said, Mr. Dickel said, they've said, hey, the system doesn't seem that broken to us. And I think, again, I'll reiterate what Ms. Fisher said, which is that, yes, they're dealing with inspectors day in, day out. I know that they have challenges. I've talked with some of them, and they do have some of the same challenges as we have. But they also are not as involved in the front end, which is where a lot of the cost that I'm talking about is absorbed, from the standpoint of planning, doing the architecture, the engineering, the waiting, the back and forth. Contractors typically are not involved in that process. That's all an owner and developer function. And that's where a lot of the money is wasted on these projects. And so when you say, well, the contractors don't have as much problem, that's a true statement, because they're not dealing with the front end cost waste like we do as the owners and developers. So I just wanted to make that distinction. I don't know that I made it very clear in my letter, so I wanted to clarify. So as I said in my letter, I invite a conversation. I invite your questions or feedback now. We can have a sidebar conversation. I'm happy to walk you through projects, talk about, I can show and tell some of the things that we've had challenges with so you can better understand. We are building to code. We're doing all of the right things, and it's just a much more challenging and clunky process through the state than I believe that it would be with this option that's on the table. So I appreciate your consideration and hope that that provides additional clarity for me.
I apologize for calling second reading before I saw you walk up here, so I take it back till we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Shaver?
Yeah, so it sounds like this may be the second reading, and if I may ask Mr. Shaver, could you find time between this meeting and the next meeting to give me a call? I have a few questions that I think would be better served being asked over a phone conversation instead on the floor of council.
I take no objection, and you're welcome, anyone's welcome to call me at any time.
Okay.
That includes citizens of Marion. I'll answer any questions I can, and I may not have all the answers for you, so if I don't, I apologize, but anybody's welcome to call me.
Anything further?
Second reading.
Moving it as a second reading.
Yeah.
Item number 2, ordinance 2025-105, commercial building inspections.
Ordinance to establish the City of Marion Commercial Building Code Enforcement Department as amended.
Mr. Dixon? also from
Again,
you.
this came from legislation. It's the same thing. It just actually establishes the building committee, or the building department. So I think we've pretty much covered everything in here, unless anybody else has anything they want to add.
Okay,
Second reading.
second reading. All right, leave it as a second. Item number 3 then. Ordinance 2025-111, ESID pass-through funds amended.
Ordinance approving additional appropriations to the Energy Special Improvement District ESID Fund for the year ending December 31st, 2025, as amended.
Ms. Lang, this comes out of your committee.
This came out of Finance with a 3-0 recommendation to approve. This is basically a pass-through to adjust the budget or to add appropriations to. The auditor has any additional information. And tonight is the third read.
Mr. Barr?
I don't know that we've done it in this term of council, but I've been made aware that it has been done in prior councils. I would like to ask the clerk to read the entire ordinance, just so everybody can know why we're here. That the council end up having to write this ordinance and the troubles that we've had over the last month and a half just trying to get this piece of legislation straight.
Yeah.
I have it. Ordinance approving additional appropriations in the Energy Special Improvement District ESID Fund for the year ending December 31st, 2025, as amended. Whereas council has previously approved the levying of special assessments for 107 LLC through ordinance 2018-042 and 2018-43, Brickyard on Main Street through ordinance 2019-043, and Harding Village through ordinance 2004-054 and 2004-55, hereby authorizing the collection of property taxes for Energy Special Improvement Districts, ESIDs, and whereas fiscal year 2025 budget amount included appropriations to cover obligations associated with ordinance 2018-042, 2018-043, and 2019-043, and whereas upon the commencement of fiscal year 2025, the ESID related to 107 LLC was completed and is no longer active, and whereas Brickyard on Main and Harding Village remain as the only two active ESIDs, and whereas the City of Marion has collected $101,897.65 in taxes, and additional appropriations are necessary in the ESID fund to cover the cost of taxes and special assessments already paid, which are associated with Harding Village pursuant to the agreed upon energy special improvement projects, and whereas the City of Marion, Ohio is aware and acknowledges that the Marion City Auditor's Office acted in bad faith by knowingly making this payment despite never requesting an appropriations, and whereas the City of Marion, Ohio is aware that the City of Marion's Auditor's Office has acted in bad faith multiple times, particularly with the current and most recent former city auditor, with a commonality of the employment and retention of the current Marion City Deputy Auditor, and whereas the City Council for Marion, Ohio has no faith or confidence in these continued acts of bad faith will cease from the Marion City Auditor's Office, and Council feels that it has little power or authority to remedy the dire financial accounting of the Marion City, and whereas although the within requested appropriations has already been purposefully and inappropriately paid by the Marion City Auditor's Office. Marion City Council sees no other action but to approve the already paid appropriations for the purpose of clearing negative line items created by the willful misfeasance, malfeasance, and/or nonfeasance of the Marion City's Auditor's Office. Therefore, be it ordained by the Council of the City of Marion, County, Ohio, the auditor is hereby authorized to appropriate money for the purpose of clearing negative line items created by the willful misfeasance, malfeasance, and/or nonfeasance of the Marion City Auditor's Office as described above to the following. Fund at number 274-2085.5451, pass-through, requested amount $58,333.44. New World balance negative $58,333.44. Fund 274.2082.5417, auditors fees $856.96. New World balance negative $856.96. Whereas the ability to override general ledger authority to prevent negative line items has been removed, Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after the earliest date allowable by law.
Mr. Rollins?
I'll make a motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve on the floor. Mr. Barr is seconding next for the second. When you're ready.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
No.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries. 8-1.
You have to take public comment on that.
Well, that's because we have spent so much time on the other.
So you cut the rest of the public comments out because you let a stranger?
Well, public comments are at the very end.
We're allowed to talk about the legislation before it passes. You didn't ask for public comment.
Well,
Yes, I do.
do you have a comment?
I do. Naomi Craig, 365 Silver Street. I personally think it's a bad idea to accuse somebody of a bunch of felonies in a piece of legislation. That's just my opinion. That's from a human resource perspective. That's defamation per se, if you can't prove it. And if it's not proven and they're not charged, then you're defaming them. And I wanted to point out that at the end of last year, we took out like 3 words of a piece of legislation because we were afraid they would hurt the mayor's feelings. And now you're going to sit here and accuse these people of actual felonies, and they've not been charged criminally.
Ms. Barr?
The deputy auditor sat up here and acknowledged that's what he did.
Oh,
A
really?
fellow councilman wrote this piece of legislation that works in an attorney's office.
Okay.
And I thought that all the jumbling back and forth for 6+ weeks of why we can't get this through, and it took someone on council to write the legislation, thought it was warranted being read.
I'm sorry you disagree with my opinion, but I'm still allowed to give it.
That's
And
fine.
until somebody's charged with a crime, putting it into a piece of legislation, you're accusing them of a felony. Now, if we were going to charge them with a felony, I suppose we could write it up in there, but you're defaming them. They've not been charged with a crime.
Mr. Russell, would you like to weigh in on this?
You know.
Okay.
Ms. McGinnis, I know a very good attorney that handles defamation per se cases. I'll be glad to pass his information along to you.
All right. Thank you. Moving on to item number 4. Ordinance 2025-117, Patton Street Alley vacation.
Ordinance vacating part of a 16.5-foot public alley lying east of lots 670 and 671 and west of lots 684 and 685 in the Patton and Wallace addition to the town, now City of Marion, Plat Book 1, page 46, and retaining permanent easement rights.
Mr. Barr? from your committee?
Yes, this come out of Streets and Sewers with a 3-0 recommendation to approve, come out of City Planning Commission with a 7-0 recommendation to approve. The applicant is here, Ms. Evelyn Waramus is here. I'm sure they would be happy to answer any questions if anyone would like any. If not, we'll do the second reading. There's a public hearing scheduled for December 8th.
All right, hearing nothing, any other questions? Moving on to new business. Item number 5, ordinance 2025-122, cybersecurity policy.
An ordinance adopting a cybersecurity policy for the city of Marion, Ohio in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 9.64 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Cheeseman?
Yes, this came from Municipal Services. This is just getting us in compliance with the state for our cybersecurity policy. We do have Jacob here to answer any questions if need be. I believe Councilman Ralph had placed some amendments that he would like to recommend on the table. But before he did that, we should probably ask the law director if this even can be amended, seeing how this is a state-required piece of legislation.
So I apologize if someone had forwarded me proposed amendments before, but to answer your question, the content in this ordinance contains the changes the legislature in Columbus made, in part because of the issue in the city of Columbus where they had data information stolen. So I didn't get this till tonight, so I'm not going to be able to respond to this. But there's no reason why you can't add to this content being what the ORC says you have to have. So it'll take some time to work through this.
Okay. Well, we need to find out if it's necessary as well.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes, everything that I've proposed here is an addition. There are no words changed. Nothing is changed in the original.
Just adding to what we've been
Yes.
providing.
But I would like to mention that in the ordinance itself, in the second line, city is spelled wrong.
Yeah.
We need to correct that. And do you want me to read this entire thing?
Should we have that read? Mr. Cheeseman?
I maybe don't find that necessary. Maybe if Mr. Bolden had received an email with this information, could let us know if he finds it relevant or important.
I haven't, the Bolton IT department, I haven't gone over it completely and thoroughly yet. But it looked like most of the stuff that you put in there is going to be in the policy at some point or another. What we're trying to pass right now is just the ordinance declaring that the city create a cybersecurity program. Cybersecurity isn't, we passed this, this is over. This is something that you continue to work on indefinitely. It just continues to improve. Most of the stuff that I've seen, quickly reading through it, is pretty standard things that talked about hardening and most of it we had already done and talked about network access and things of that nature. A lot of it had already been done. So I think the only thing that hasn't is the reporting requirements, and that's not going to be too terribly difficult to accommodate. Because there's never been reporting requirements before as far as incidents go. It's all been up to the administration until this legislation, House Bill 96. So everything else as far as the technology side of things go, all that stuff's already been done.
Question.
Go ahead.
You said that this is eventually going to be in there anyway as time goes on, right? Why not do it tonight while we've got it all
Go
here?
ahead and do it tonight, but like I said, all this stuff is, it's gonna, if you think this is what the cybersecurity policy is gonna be 2 to 3 years from now, it's probably not. It's gonna have to change. And
I'm
it's
sure
gonna have
it's-
to change every year,
Yeah.
and it's probably gonna have to change, not necessarily with council's approval, because a lot of these policies that will come into play will be after, won't require council's approval, but we just need the approval for the ordinance and creation of the program.
Mr. Rollins?
Yeah. My main question is around section 3, subsection A, risk management, critical functions. If this legislation passes, the way I read this, we are required to conduct an annual cybersecurity risk assessment. There's currently legislation right now going through finance to pass $5,000 for that. If this were to pass and that stays in committee, I just have questions that kind of leads me to believe our hands are tied if this legislation passes.
I see.
How do you mean?
I don't think we have a choice because this is mandated by the state.
Mr.
So,
Keithman?
I guess my,
Go ahead. We'll go back to you to finish that up.
so my question is, if this is going to become policy, why didn't we just set aside $5,000 in next year's budget to do the cybersecurity assessment? Why do we have a separate piece of legislation right now that we're debating in committee for $5,000 to do what this is going to require us to do? Makes zero sense to me. Or am I on an island here?
Madam
Mayor
President.
Collins, would you like to answer?
Just a couple of
Anything?
points for clarity. To address first, section 3A, conduct an annual cybersecurity risk assessment. That could be done by Jacob. I mean, it's not telling us we have to hire an outside person to do that. It could be done by our internal IT department. So I'm not reading that requirement in there. Secondly, House Bill 96 is supposed to be passed by January 1st of 2026. I mean, our cybersecurity implementation of this policy is supposed to be done by January 1st, 2026. I've not seen the changes Mr. Smith has presented, so I can't speak to that. But as Jacob said earlier, we have to, it would be beneficial of us to pass this so we can comply with the state by January 1st. And then if there's recommendations to add verbiage or something along those lines, that can always be done at a later time.
Mr. Keithman?
No offense to the mayor here, but I'd like to hear that from you, Mr. Bolden. Are you capable, or do you plan to conduct the annual cybersecurity risk?
Cybersecurity is a consistent evaluation. It's not some, I mean, year over year, yes, you should have a spelled out point in time that you evaluate all this, but you should be doing it nearly every single day at some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
My biggest thing that I've had problems with is just writing the policies down. And this is taking care of all of that. But yeah, we're joining OPCI to help with some of this stuff too, so.
What?
Mr. Rollins?
I'm just wondering why we would have our internal IT guy conduct a cybersecurity audit on himself.
Well, maybe I'm not taking it as conducting the audit on himself. I thought it was conducting the audit on like all the cyber electronics and stuff.
Well, I would hope that if he didn't think that there was an issue, he would address it, right?
Yeah.
The advantage of having a third party come in is to identify gaps. What gaps is he going to identify if he's auditing himself?
In the past, all of this was part of the state audit for the auditor's office. So every year we were audited through the audit, and they audited IT. It was all part of this. I know that I don't have any details of it yet because, again, all this is just starting because of this House bill. But the OPCI stuff that we're taking part in, this is part of that. And they will put us in contact with people to do this. All this is standard for cybersecurity. It's all gonna need to be done. I have nothing against any of this. It should be done according to standards and all that kind of stuff.
Ms. Lang?
So I have a question, because the mayor said that this is, we need to get this done by January 1st so that the procedures and policies could be written, and you just said this is going to be the that passing this is going to be. So which is this the policy? And if so, why can't we amend it now and have everything in place? Because then you're not going to be writing anything, because this is it.
Because you'll never, ever be able to come up with everything that you will need at some point.
I understand
Yeah,
that it's
that's-
going to have to be
yeah.
updated periodically as
I
it
mean,
goes on.
whatever amendments you guys want to make, that's fine, but like I said, the thing that we're required is to have the ordinance passed that says we're starting the cybersecurity program.
Madam President, if I could just clarify a couple of things. When they're talking about conducting an annual cybersecurity risk assessment, that's not what I was asking for $5,000 for a couple of weeks ago. What I was asking for was money to spend on a third-party outside company to come in and do a forensic IT audit. In other words, digging into the system and making sure that our security and everything was as it was supposed to be and had not been breached and that kind of thing. This annual cybersecurity risk assessment is just him looking at our policy. I just had a training he sent me the other day that I had to take online and do for cybersecurity. So it's kind of just keeping up with the national and Ohio standard of cybersecurity and what we're doing here. So I appreciate the fact that we're talking about conducting an annual cybersecurity risk assessment. He's more than capable of doing that with our stuff. As far as having a third person, I absolutely believe we should have a third party look at our stuff every once in a while. It's just like having an audit from the state. You're having a third party come in and look at what you're doing to make sure everything we're doing is correct and appropriate. So I have no problem with saying that a third party should come in occasionally to make sure our one IT guy is doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Ms. Lang?
I haven't had a chance to read through this since we just received this tonight. I would like the opportunity to be able to review this, ask some questions if I have any, and and possibly make it a part of this ordinance and then update it as we go along. So I would like to keep this as a first read tonight so that we have an opportunity to review the items.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yeah, I believe that there is plenty of time to let this sit at least another reading, so I would let it sit for a second reading. I would agree.
Mrs. Dunn?
Jason, you're right. If I get going, I don't stop, you're right. Since, Twyla, I agree with you 100%. We need to put this aside and start looking at some other things. And that's really, I think, listening to myself tonight is like, I want to think of the future, which is what we do. And I think in making what our representative for our legal side has put in can be added. And part of that is yearly to look at this and put that into the ordinance, that we as whomever the council is for that year will be reminded that we have to keep this stuff constantly flowing, or else we get ourselves into trouble like we've been doing financially, record keeping, yada, 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 yada. I don't want to go there anymore. I like the city, I stay here, and there are a lot of people here to represent that. So I don't think I've seen it quite this full in a long time. The second thing that I really want to do is we need to put that in our ordinance also, that we have a third party in the ordinance, that we don't just use IT because maybe somebody said, well, we agreed to do that on such and such date. Well, we need to really start writing things down in our ordinances and plan for the next council people who don't come in. And I'm going to say it again, if we don't follow our history and pay attention to what we have screwed up, we're going to do it again, period. So those things, and I'm glad you said that, Twyla, if you just got it tonight, that's not fair to any of you, nor to the people who are paying taxes.
Thank you, Mrs. Arnold. Anything else on this issue? Okay, leave it as a second reading.
First reading.
First,
That's second reading. First reading is last.
Item 5.
Yes. as a first reading. Sorry, I just wrote the wrong one. Item number 6, then. Resolution 2025-023, Ohio American Water increase.
Resolution opposing Aqua Ohio's request to increase water service rates and requesting that the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio deny the utilities request.
Mr. Ratliff, this comes from your committee.
Yes, so Aqua Ohio has requested a 17.5% rate increase through the Ohio Public Utility Commission. This is a resolution that we are adopting to send to that utility commission opposing that. It kind of starts a long process of that possibly even a lawsuit will be involved and PUCO hearings and stuff, but this is the first step that your city is taking to oppose the 17.5% rate increase proposed by Aqua. And I will make a motion to suspend additional readings on this piece of legislation.
We have a motion from Mr. Ratliff, and
I'll second.
Mr. Prater has the second. Go ahead.
Can we change that requesting so it's spelled right?
It's been changed on the original.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries to suspend the 3 readings. Mr. Ratliff?
And with that suspending, I will make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Ratliff, and then a second from Mr. Dickel to adopt. Any other questions or discussion on that? All right.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously to adopt. Item number 7, 2025-123, Lee Street and Dennison Avenue stop signs.
Ordinance authorizing the safety director to amend the master traffic control plan by placing stop signs on Lee Street and Dennison Avenue, finding warrant requirements having been met in regards to the specific intersection contained herein.
Mr. Barr?
It's come out of the Traffic Commission with a 6-0 recommendation to approve. Safety director is not here. The engineer is on. I believe he provided a letter of support for this. I'm sure he'd be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for engineer? Mr. Ratliff?
Just a question, either to the administration or to the law director. Again, I've been up here for a long time, and this just seems to have followed a different path than any other stop sign that we have placed in this city. And has anything changed as far as laws go? Because again, it's just odd that the stop signs are already there. They were there before they went to traffic commission, and they're there before it comes to council. And that's just never how I've seen this take place before.
Your observations are correct. Nothing has changed in our code. However, Safety Director Cal had utilized the authority. It's kind of concurrent authority. The Safety Director has authority within our existing code to change traffic control devices such as stop signs when he sees a need, and that he can do that for a 90-day period. In the past, Safety Director Robbins on Church Street, he noticed that he put a sign out and said, hey, this is going to be discussed at a committee meeting. It's just a different way to go about it. So it's just a different way to go about it. In this case, Director Cal placed them with the authority of the existing code. And of course, the Traffic Commission met last week and voted to recommend changing the traffic plan. And that's why it's before you now. Just 2 different ways of going about it.
Because I was always under the impression that you first had to start with a sign saying that a traffic pattern was going to be changed.
There's no requirement in the city of Marion that requires that sign to be placed. We see it quite often traveling along state highways, probably related to ODOT, but we don't have one locally that would have required a sign in advance of, like that on Lee Street. But in a way, you know, it was done. In a way, Safety Director Cal, by erecting them, put them up. It's more noticeable than a sign. A stop sign is soon going to be placed. So it's just to pick a choice of which process to employ.
Okay.
Anything else? Mr. Rollins?
Does this require any type of public hearing?
No.
No. I'll make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
We have a motion to suspend for Mr. Rollins and a second for Mr. Prater.
Yes.
To suspend the 3 readings rule. Are you ready?
Mr. Barr?
No.
Mr. Ratliff?
No.
Mr. Schauber?
No.
Ms. Lang?
No.
Mr. T. Smith?
No.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickle?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
No.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
3-6.
Motion fails with 3 votes for and 6 against.
First read.
First read. Item number 8, ordinance 2025-098, designation of deposits amended.
Ordinance designating depositories of public monies to the city of Marion and declaring an emergency as amended.
Ms. Lang?
This came out of Finance Committee with a 2-1 no recommendation. This is changing the designation of deposits for how the city can, the banks that the city can invest their monies in.
Mr. Ratliff?
So we had talked at committee about the confusing language, and you said that this followed the state's language. However, you know, and you had said if anybody has any language that would make it better, they should propose it. And so I was going to just have a conversation about that. And under the depository of active monies awarded, across from where it says the Fahey Banking Company, instead of its, I think it should say the Fahey Banking Company. And across from Park National Bank, instead of its, I think it should say Park National Bank. And in the next section where it says up to 50% of the city active monies, I think it should say of the remaining, because it's actually grammatically incorrect and to the way that it is, because you could never fulfill what this is saying without the word remaining. So
Having heard your suggestions, I would recommend the council consider amending it to incorporate exactly what you said.
So I'll make that in the form of a formal motion that under depository of active monies award, that it read no more than 30% of the Fahey Banking Company's total assets. The next line down, no more than 30% of Park National Bank's total assets. And then the next line down would be up to 50% of the remaining city active monies not deposited in the Fahey Banking Company and Park National Bank. I just think that makes it clearer because, again, I didn't even understand it when we read it in the committee.
I'll second his motion.
Yes. 50% of the city's remaining. Mr. Rollins, you seconded that?
I did.
I did
Mr.
not.
Dick,
I mean,
I heard it over there. I was.
Yeah. This is... Okay, ready to take a vote on amending?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously to amend as Mr. Ratliff suggested. Now clerk will read.
Ordinance designating depositories of public funds of the city of Marion and declaring an emergency as amended.
Okay, then I have one more separate question, and I should have asked this at committee night, but I was, I guess, so focused on the wording I didn't even go into section 2. And under the interim funds, we have 3 banks listed as the name of institutions. And the last time that this was proposed, I think we had 6 banks listed. And my question is, do we have money in those, in the 3 banks that we're dropping off? And do we have a reason that we're dropping those off?
So the interim funds are those funds that the city invests that are not necessary for the next period of 6 months. Those monies are directed, those monies now are all held at Fifth Third Bank. Is that correct, Miranda?
I didn't hear her.
She's checking, she's confirming. It's my belief, all the interim monies are on deposit at Fifth Third Bank. And so those banks that have dropped off, that aren't listed, they don't hold any deposits. I don't know that they have ever held interim deposits. Because again, those are monies that are available for investment longer than 6 months. So to answer your question, the auditors confirmed in regards to section 2, all the funds and interim funds are at Fifth Third. However, we need to go up and make a change in the active funds. Is that right? Is that what you just said? Okay. So forget that. To your question, all the city's interim funds are on deposit at Fifth Third. Those banks that have been removed between last time we're talking about and now, they shouldn't be on there because they're not going to receive any of the interim deposits. Those are going to go to large financial institutions that provide a greater return on your deposits.
And then did you say we have to relook at section 1?
It's actually, we were just confirming, the Union Bank is listed.
It is.
And the auditor just wanted to make sure that we didn't leave anyone off. Thank you. We don't want to leave anyone off, but we're good to go in regards to both sections now.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yeah, I have a question about the banks listed under active monies. Is Premier Bank still doing business as Premier Bank, or aren't they West Banco?
You'd have to ask them. They're in a transition.
Okay.
So they're being bought by West Banco. That's a regulatory transition that has to receive approvals. So referencing them as Premier Bank, soon to be known as, once all the approvals are in place, West Banco, that's a process. But in my opinion, given my experience, listing them as Premier, you'll be able to follow along.
Okay.
You know, they're
We don't need
Premier
to add
West
West
Bank.
Banco to here, you don't think?
No.
Okay.
Because a person could look at this and say, Premier, I don't even know that. And if they research it, they'll learn, oh, that's West Banco now, because all the approvals have been made at some time in the future, and they can complete the transition.
Mr. Dickel?
This ordinance has been being jostled back and forth for a long time now, and it's declared as an emergency. And if this seems to meet the, answer the questions that people had, and since it's declared an emergency, if you, my fellow councilmen are comfortable, I would like to recommend waiving the 3 reading rule.
We have a motion to waive the 3 reading rule.
I'll second.
We have a second from Mr. Prater. Mr. Ratliff?
So again, it's something else I didn't ask in committee. Why is this an emergency? Because our current legislation doesn't expire, I don't think, for over a year. So I just, is there something we want to do, or is there, wonder why it's an emergency.
I think it carried over from before. That's not sufficient reason to include it now. I don't know of any imminent change, so it'd make no difference removing the declaration of emergency. I don't believe, nothing's going to change within the next 60 days.
Okay. I withdraw my motion then.
I'll withdraw too.
That motion has been withdrawn. Mr. Ratliff?
And if we don't have a proper reason to put it on, I would make a motion that we take the emergency clause off.
We have a motion to take the emergency clause off and a second from Mr. Ralph Smith. So we have another motion to amend. Whenever you're ready.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
No.
Motion carries 8-1 to amend by declaring an emergency off. Is that correct?
Removing the emergency clause. Ordinance designating depositories of public funds for the city of Marion as amended.
All right. Ms. Lang, you wish to leave this as a first reading?
It'll go back to first read.
Yeah.
Number 9.
There it is. I wrote so much on it.
Just
Ordinance. Yes,
point
sorry.
of clarification, does your copy read funds or monies?
For ordinance 098? What we
The
just-
ordinance that was just read by the clerk, I believe he read funds, and our copy says monies.
Yes, I didn't hear that.
My bad, I'm sorry.
Does it say monies?
It says monies.
We're good. All right, number 9, ordinance 2025-124, SCMR fund appropriation.
Ordinance requesting additional appropriations to the SCMR fund in the below listed line items for the year ending December 31st, 2025.
Ms. Lang?
This comes out of a finance committee with a 3-0 recommendation. This is just putting funds in so they're available when the project's done.
Mr. T. Smith?
Motion to suspend.
Motion to suspend the 3 readings. And Mr. Barr has the second. When you're ready.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries 9-0 to suspend the 3 readings. Ms. Lang?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve for Ms. Lang. Looks like a second for Mr. T. Smith.
Yes, please.
Any questions or discussion on this? Okay, hearing none. Go ahead and vote.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item number 10. Ordinance 2025-125, SNAP replacement funds.
Ordinance of the Council of Marion, Ohio, directing the administration to put in place a plan to provide local food assistance funding to replace lost SNAP federal funds, appropriating the necessary funds, and declaring an emergency.
Ms. Lang?
This did come out of Finance Committee with a 3-0 recommendation to approve. Open it up for discussions at this point.
Ms. Bratler?
Yeah, so this came back to committee after this council passed this 2 weeks ago. And it came back as the plan from the administration was to give $25,000 to the Salvation Army. And I think that's fine. I would support that if that's what this council wants to do. However, I will make an amendment to that on the floor, and that was to give $5,000 each to the Salvation Army, to Luke 311 that runs the peanut butter jelly truck, to Helping Hands, to Leapin Ministries, and to the Marion Shelter program that runs the homeless shelter. I just think that gives a broader range of help than to give one organization all the money, and so I'll make that in a formal amendment.
And Mr. T. Smith would like to amend that. Did you get all the language?
I believe so.
Okay.
Mr. T. Smith?
Mr. T. Smith seconded that motion to amend.
So just to clarify, this is to divide the $5,000 or the $25,000, earmarking $5,000 for the Salvation Army, $5,000 for the Luke 315, $5,000 for Leapin Ministries, $5,000 for the Marion Shelter, and $5,000 for Helping Hands.
Okay, sounds like we got them all.
I think it's 311 instead of 315, by the way.
I'll take your word for it on it.
I think so. Any discussion on that?
Where is this money coming from?
This is coming from the opioid settlement money.
So it's not coming from the general fund?
It's not. It's coming from us where we have limited places that we can spend the money.
Okay.
Mr. Kreider?
Scott Prater, 270 East Center Street. When those monies are distributed, so it's going to be up to each of the groups or organizations to use their own standards as far as who receives the benefit, pretty much. Because, I mean, they all have their certain requirements, like, and running the St. Paul's Food Pantry, they could come to us once a month and so forth. And the Salvation Army had its own set of guidelines and so forth. So we're just in general, I just want to make sure that's clear, because there's always a situation. We've got a special situation now, you know, with the SNAP and so forth, but it's some organizations in the past have had where if you went to one food pantry, you couldn't go, they wouldn't give you food for another. I didn't want to have any cross mixing that would be negatively affecting those who need the.
I think it'd be really hard for us to control that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's just going to be a general thing. See fit how you need to distribute that.
Until I see it.
Okay. All right. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Kreider. Ms. Lang?
When this was originally presented, it was kind of like in a good faith gesture. And I don't think it's fair for the city to take, I just don't think we should get involved in this. The federal government came through, the state government came through, the community came through, and I just don't think at this point that it's time for the city to be involved in this. I think we need to keep the money in the funds for whatever may come up next year. We are in a financial situation, so I just think that, in my opinion, is that we should not pass this.
Okay, Mr. Rollins and then Mr. R. Smith.
While I respect Councilwoman Lang's opinion, I would just strongly urge my fellow council members to consider that if there is any purpose of a local government, it is to ensure that your citizens have access to freaking food.
Mr. Arsmith?
Yeah, I was going to wait till after the amendment to read this, but I have a statement that I'd like to read. On the issue regarding ordinance 2025-125, the $25,000 allocation for supplementing missed SNAP
Mr.
benefits.
Smith, we have a point of order.
So we just made an amendment and we let statements go on that's not to the business of the amendment. And now Mr. Smith is reading a personal statement.
I
Does it
agree.
have anything to do with the amendment? Well, your initial thought was correct to wait. So
Exactly right, but since it's swallowed,
let's see if we're even doing any business.
But yeah, we can go ahead and take the amendment vote. I
Yeah,
have no
let's take the
problem.
vote on the, well, let's see, do we have the,
We have a motion and a second.
okay. On the amendment to, I'm sorry, on the motion to amend to the 5 different categories. Yeah, let's take that.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Rattler?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
No.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. Arsmith?
No.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion to amend carries, looks like 7-2. Okay, so now let's get back.
You need to reread it.
Oh, you've got to read the amendment, sorry.
Ordinance of the Council of Marion, Ohio, directing the administration to put in place a plan to provide local food assistance funding to replace lost SNAP federal funds, appropriating the necessary funds, and declaring an emergency as amended.
Mr. Arsmith,
Now I can read my statement, right?
I think so.
Okay. Issue regarding the ordinance 2025-125, which is the $25,000 allocation for supplementing missed SNAP benefits. On October 30th, 2025, Governor DeWine signed an executive order to use temporary assistance to needy family funds, TANF, to provide emergency relief benefits to those who lose federal funding due to the government shutdown. This order provided $7 million to food banks in Ohio and up to $18 million in emergency relief funds or benefits to low-income families. On November 1st, 2025, federal SNAP benefits ceased to be allocated to the states. On November 12th, 2025, Ohio began paying partial SNAP benefits up to 65% to qualified recipients in compliance with Governor DeWine's order. On November 14th, the Office of Congresswoman Chantel Brown issued this update. With the shutdown over, the state of Ohio has announced that full SNAP benefits for November will be distributed by next week. According to the state, recipients should receive full payments by the end of the week of November 17th. If you received a partial payment, you will receive the remainder of your balance. Ohio SNAP benefits began receiving their full November benefits, including the retroactive amounts, around November 17, 2025, with the majority of payments issued by November 21st, 2025. In view of this information, and the fact that the city of Marion is trying to trim its budget to reduce the projected deficit, I feel that this legislation is no longer needed at this time. The monies mentioned in this legislation can be put to better use by setting it aside for next year. We all know that the continuing resolution agreed to by Congress expires in January 2026. Let's be ready for next time.
Ms. Breton?
You know, with all of the SNAP discussion that has went on in the recent past, I think that if we have learned much about reading the news is that we here in Marion have people who are in need. Whether they have received 65%, 0, or 100%, they are in need. And we have organizations that are helping those people. And if we can take one fraction of 1% of the city's budget and make it to where, I don't even know why I'm getting emotional, but make it to where people in Marion that don't have a bed can sleep, that don't have food can eat. And if we don't have a heart big enough to help people, we shouldn't be up here.
You need to stop doing that, or we'll have to have you excuse yourselves. This is not how we run this meeting.
Naomi Craig, 365 Silver Street. We're talking about how everyone received their food stamps, but we're getting ready to lay off a bunch of city employees that might need to go to these food banks and might need these services. So stop being greedy with $25,000 when we're laying people off before Thanksgiving and they're not going to have jobs at the end of the year.
Ms. Lang?
Who's getting laid off?
Police,
Who's getting laid off?
the police were told Friday they're getting laid off.
It's news to me. Mr. Dickel, I saw your
I
hand up.
have a question about this funding. So this is not coming out of the general fund, correct?
No.
Correct.
This is coming out of the opioids. So this money couldn't be used for general fund purposes anyway, correct? This has to be.
That's what I want to talk about.
Mr. Schauber and then Ms. Lang.
Yeah, so the reason why we have that confusion where it's coming from is because the ordinance isn't proper, and then when we finally get an audit, it's going to say, well, where did this money come from?
Exactly.
Well, we haven't learned our lessons from repeatedly saying that you have to state the fund that it's coming from and where it's going to, and this does not do that. So we need to amend and fix, and so whenever we get audited, we can see that trail.
And so Ms. Lang next.
And also it says to replace lost SNAP federal funds, and they got them. So my suggestion at this point is to send it back to committee so that we can relook at it, because if we're going to split it up between different places, we need to have a clean document. We need to know where the funds are coming from, and the way this one is written, I'm not going to vote for it.
Madam
Mr.
President, can we tackle the issue related to the form of the ordinance?
Yeah.
Because it actually says, council directs the auditor to make the following appropriation from the opioid settlement fund, says where it's coming from, and after the semicolons, it directs where the money's going to be placed into. So an auditor later looking at this will be able to see the trail. Monies came from the opioid settlement fund, and they were placed into the donation line item within the opioid settlement fund.
Thank you.
Mr. Russell?
Mr. Rollins, did that answer your questions?
No, I was just gonna
Read from the same thing? Okay.
And
Mr.
I have a
Dickel?
question, so this, I'm just trying to clarify this in my mind, so excuse me if I'm being repetitive, but this is money that could not be used in the general fund for other things. This is for a specific purpose.
So it's for a specific purpose. Section 1 contains, the auditor state has 2 treatises or letters of opinion as how these funds can be used according to the state of Ohio, and I've cut and pasted them. This use fits the parameters of the 2 treatises or documents from the auditor of state. So this complies with the state's control over how we use them. It's a settlement fund, which is not like a grant fund.
Right.
Grant funds have stringent use requirements and accounting processes. These monies were derived from litigation throughout the United States because of the makers of opioids that created such havoc throughout all the communities, including ours. So these are recoveries of settlements. Usually when you get a settlement, the person receiving it can use it for whatever it feels they want to use it for. So it doesn't have it. But if your question goes on to say, can these monies be used to fund police services? If it's related to drug use prevention and abstinence, they possibly could be used at some point in the future for police services, or law enforcement, or fire services related to the destructive remnants of the opioid crisis.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Mr. Prater?
Yeah, that was what I was thinking when this was brought up, since it came out of the opioid settlement fund, that it should have been directed specifically to drug abuse and rehabilitation and things like that. Even, ironically, it was around Veterans Day, and from my driving down to Columbus the last few years, that's all I saw was veterans panhandling beside the freeway off-ramps and stuff, and maybe some of this should be directed towards veterans who are having trouble reacclimating to civilian life, and directed towards opioid treatment if we're going to take it out of the opioid treatment settlement.
Ms. Lang, I saw your hand up before.
Can we amend it to and remove replace lost SNAP federal funds?
Yes.
And just have it read to provide local food assistance?
That appears in there 3 times.
Excuse me?
3 times.
Pardon? Well, wherever it's mentioned that in there as replacement for SNAP federal loss of SNAP funds.
Are you asking, should it be removed because the SNAP federal funding was not lost? Is that what your point? It was delayed?
Exactly. The SNAP funds were not lost. They were given by the federal government and by the state government. If we want to donate...
Are you suggesting that citizens in Marion did not recognize the significant hardship caused by the federal government shutdown and the elimination or reduction in SNAP funding? Is that literally what I'm hearing people say right now?
I'm not saying that they didn't...
I would invite anyone, every Wednesday I drive the peanut butter jelly truck. Come along. I'll be there at 4 o'clock on Wednesday.
Okay.
If you don't think there is a need in this community, you are out of your minds. I don't even know what we're having this discussion about. If your objection is having the word SNAP in here, please, by all means, remove the word SNAP. But sitting here and having an argument about semantics doesn't put food in kids' mouths.
Okay. We're not into that. Chief McDonald,
It's your call?
if that happens again, I will have the chief escort you out. This is not an auditorium. This is a public meeting. Ms. Dyer?
Tara Dyer, 485 North Grand Avenue. So I have a couple of things, right? Did you guys see there was a news kind of a thing on like Channel 6 about the peanut butter jelly, the Route 315? Did you guys see that?
Yes.
So a person from Columbus came down here applauding that effort for a community member to have the wherewithal to go out and feed our kids. I thought that was important. Number 2, Marion City Schools kids are out this week. They're out this week. They are out of school this week.
Which means many of them aren't going to have a meal.
We passed out some blizzard bag type things today, but that was according to the information. It was first come, first served. And I know that when our students see that peanut butter jelly truck come, it's like the popsicle man, you know? So that's important. Feeding people are important. So just 2 more things. Have you guys like gone out and talked to people in your wards and asked them these things? And you know, you're reading statements, you're looking at stuff, you're removing words. You got to go out and talk to the people who are hungry in this community. So I applaud you and I applaud you. So lastly, and this is just a suggestion, I know Mr. Smith, that you said that we can't have any control over who is or how we're patrolling this, but we can send out notices and let the city You know, the people know that the freaking city cares about them, that we're going to allocate money to the Salvation Army, we're going to be ministries. So if you're hungry, the city is interested in feeding you, and that they just allocated money to 5 organizations to make sure that you are fed. I don't think it should be a discussion, you know. I don't know, for me, I've been hungry, and I don't want that to happen to anybody. So even though we cannot say, you know, who's getting it, I think we can put out a notice, and I'm sure Scott Spears on his show will say, look, money was allocated to these things, go get some food, don't be hungry. Let's have some empathy.
Ms. Dyer, if I may, and I'm not looking for oversight over it at all. I was just answering Ms. Kreider, or Mr. Kreider's question as to who would have oversight with the money after they received it.
But I'm saying, that was just a suggestion, that we don't have oversight, but we can say,
well, I don't think we need
the Marion Star can say, look, go to B Ministries, go to Salvation Army. I've seen people even putting food on their porches and stuff, and the city council can't even, you know, $25,000 is nothing. People are putting things on Facebook that have porch pantries. Our community is suffering. We're suffering.
Yeah,
Excuse me, sir.
Thank you. Mrs. Arndt, I recognize you, and then I'll come back up here to Mr. Smith. And Mr. Dichtel, do you have anything?
Yeah.
Victoria Arndt, 410 Clover Avenue. Mr. Ayers, I would like to thank you, and I'd like all of you to think about the timing that has already come and gone. Okay? Not to say people are not hungry, because I know for a fact many of them are. Many have lost their jobs, many various things have happened during the last few weeks. My daughter herself and her fairly new husband have approximately 6 children now, and so they just came back in because her husband lost his job recently. So it is something we need to do and always look forward to doing. We have many churches also, Ayers, that I want you to be involved and know, and there's a lot of people who need help in their churches, lots of them. Jackie Peterson, I know for a fact, is it once a month, I believe, I could be wrong, has got plenty of food, and she puts it on Facebook. For the elderly, we have the elder social club in a sense, because they're very close with one another. They have food every month also. So there are many places to go. The allocation that I would like to bring to the table is, we've missed the SNAP. It was great to think about it. The veterans, yes, there are places for them to go also. If we would allocate that $5,000 to individuals who are, because of the SNAP, which is now back in, the people are so far behind, we all know that. They have children. So we need to stand behind the abuse, can't even think of the name of it right now, down there on Barks Road, with those mothers with children, and they get together, yes. They get together and they adopt families from there in various areas in our community to bring things that the mothers are coming out of the shelter, and they need things for the children. They need clothing, they need no. I'm not saying that the Goodwill doesn't have lower end clothing, but it's not like it used to be. They used to be given a voucher to go out and get back into society. I don't know about that anymore. We need to look at the family needs now, which might be, Twyla, what you were thinking about was, we're past the SNAP. In a sense, we are, we're not. We've got great people here, great churches here, and maybe we as council people, and I say we because we're all involved, go out and see what churches have got what. I know some churches that have been given Speedway accounts and yada yada. They need gas. My daughter, I know her husband now is working, and so the gas money and everything else. Think about those things too. It's not just the food, but it is what is needed in our community, and maybe put that money and see what you can do with it. Maybe we need to volunteer our time.
Thank you, Ms. Stark. Mr. Dichtel?
I was I was concerned about this because I, with the finances in Marion, we don't have any money, but this money is there and it seems to be an appropriate use of the fund. I don't have a problem with it.
Mr. Prater?
Yeah, I had somebody contact me asking me if this had come out of taxpayer money, and I said no. And it was something from the opioid grant. I like what Mr. Ratliff did, dividing it up instead of just 25,000 going to Salvation Army, the groups, the 5,000 each, makes it really more awesome and better. And I was, with our city finances the way it was, but I like that, the way it's been divided up. And sure, we don't know how they're going to spend it, but we got to assume maybe that they'll do their due diligence and distribute the money and use it as wisely as possible. I remember one time when I moved down to Texas, I went 3 days without food. And we had like a can of peas and a loaf of bread, and we give it to a little kid that was there. It was like 5 of us, and finally when my sister-in-law got paid, we had Burger King, and nothing ever tasted so good in my life after 3 days without food. So as much as people worry about we're spending money, it is coming out of the opioid fund, and it's being divided up among 5 different ways, and I would support it.
Yes, gentleman back.
Hey, you had Burger King and you gave the kid peas?
No, that was after we got money. The kid, no,
Can't have noise now.
Matthew Cooper, 844 Congress Street. I would like to start by, let's go back to why these kids don't have food. The way it links from SNAP all the way to the opioids, right? So the drug problem is the reason that these kids don't have food, right? So what better way to use the money than the money that comes from the drug problem?
100%.
All right, so like our community's been ravaged by drugs, and even the war on drugs has ravaged our community. So I think that it would be appropriate to be used to feed the kids.
Sir, what was your name? I didn't.
Matthew Cooper.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Mr. Prater?
Scott Prater, 278 Center. I'm urge council to pass this quickly. I mean, you look at this, again, back to the SNAP thing, a lot of people had to reapply, start from scratch when they were reauthorized. So that's delayed even getting that money to them. So let's throw that out.
Mr. Rollins and then Mr. Armstrong.
Yeah, have we taken the vote on the amendments?
We voted, no, not on the amendment.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Yes, 7-2.
I thought that was to amend.
And we changed Mr.
Yeah,
Prater's
that's what
mind.
okay.
Yes, and I would...
Wrong word. I'm looking at adopt and not amend. Sorry.
I would make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
Okay, we have a motion to suspend the 3 readings.
I'll
and
second.
We have a second for Mr. Ratliff and
I have
Mr. R.
discussion.
Smith. You had a question or comment?
Yeah. My issue with this ordinance, first of all, it's to replace the lost SNAP federal funds, and there were no lost SNAP federal funds. Everybody was made whole. So I think the ordinance in itself is wrong. The second thing that I have a problem with is that this ordinance was introduced the day the government shutdown ended. It was an after-the-fact thing. I suggest that we take this money and put it into our budget for next year, because with our federal government, in January, we're going to be going through the same thing again. Because the federal government, the continuing resolution is only good till January. They will do it again.
So you were suggesting that you're foreseeing this happening again and
Yes, it's happened before, it'll happen again.
do the similar action, but save it for then, is what you're saying.
And I think that the ordinance itself is not correct, and it should be returned to committee.
Okay, well, we have a motion and a second already to adopt. Anything else on this issue?
To suspend.
Yeah, what are we adopting? Because
We're adopting the amended,
No, I mean, as far as the ordinance, what is the ordinance saying now? Did we change it? We amended it?
yes.
What did we amend it
broke
to?
it from the 25,000 to go to Salvation
okay.
Army.
Okay,
to
I
the
understand.
5,000 to the 5
All right.
entities here in town. All right, I guess we're ready to take the vote then.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
No.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
No.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-2. And Mr. Rollins, you had your hand up?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. And a second I see from Mr. Smith.
Yes, please.
And Mr. Schauber has a comment.
Yeah, I have a question, and it's just for my clarification. I promise there won't be an applause line, so no one will be backing away from the chambers. So the line item number says expenditure. Is that within the opioid fund? Because we have to show a path.
It is, it's the fives. All
It is
fives
an
are
expenditure
expenses,
line.
Fours are revenue.
Did you hear that?
No, there were 5 people talking and 19 whispering.
Sorry, all the fives are expenses, fours are revenue, so that's a 5. It's an expense line. From
Okay,
the
but
opioid fund.
my question is it within the opioid line item fund, dollar amount, whatever you want to call it? I don't know.
It's 233.
If I
233.
This is opioid funds.
Maybe an easier question would be, will these funds follow the same path that we most recently did with the YMCA roof repair, or whatever? I don't remember it being this line.
So, I'm trying to think how to make this short. So you have an opioid fund, and that's broken out into 2 different things.
Mhm.
One is a safe haven, which is associated with the Y for the children. The first one is, I think it just is opioid settlement fund.
And that's where the larger
And
amount of
that's
money is.
correct. So that's how it's broken out. So this would be, I believe, without double checking, I believe it's the first settlement fund. It's not in with the safe haven fund, as far as I know.
But both of those are together from the opioid fund.
The only thing I'm concerned about, I hope we pass this, and I want to pass it soon so we can move on. But like I said in Finance Committee with some other ordinances, we don't have a clear path that can be tested and audited and not come back in a few years later saying, well, the auditor did another audit finding. And that's all I'm trying to prevent.
Auditor McGinnis?
Thank you, Madam President. The opioid fund is Fund 233. 2068 is the opioid section. And then the fund, or the account that she has is 5511. That is the one that is marked within that fund donations. That is the donations going out to who it needs to go out to. I believe the fund that you're talking about specifically for the Y, that was 233, which is still opioid, but it's 3068, which is safe haven. That's what she meant as far as the separation of the two. And then that was 5509 scholarships.
Okay, so you are the current city auditor. Are you comfortable with how this ordinance is written? And it could be, this $25,000 could be followed clear through to the vendor?
Yes.
Okay, don't worry about it.
Okay. Mr. Ratliff?
Again, I hope that this passes, and just would encourage, since we have an emergency clause on it, it can take effect as early as tomorrow, and would encourage us to take advantage of that.
Okay. Anything further? We have a motion to adopt in a second. Mr. Smith?
Again, it says SNAP funds. There is no loss of SNAP funds. If Marion wants to feed hungry children, starving on the street corners, as Mr. Rollins said,
That is not what I said.
then we should put in there that Marion...
Don't put words in my mouth. That is not what I said. Call the question, President.
Marion should say, since we need to feed children...
I think we need to stop right here, though, because as Mr. Rollins said.
Okay.
So, no, Mr. Ralph Smith has his right as well as every other council person to make an amendment. Is that your amendment, sir? Clearly state it and let's vote up or down on it or see if you can get a second. Go on the record with what you want to do.
There's a motion on the
We have a
floor.
motion and a second to
That vote has to come
vote on.
first.
Oh my God, I've been here too long to teach everyone how to run a business meeting through parliamentary procedure. Who cares if there's a motion to adopt? You can amend at any moment. So, Mr. Smith, if you have an amendment, articulate it, let's see if we get a second and move on. If not, let's shut up and vote.
I've already stated my objection, and I've already stated what I would like to see done. I'd like to see it returned to council, or to committee.
So you don't have a motion to amend?
No.
Wow. I apologize to the third ward. I should have campaigned harder.
I'd just like to take 2 seconds and let everybody know that every single one of the organizations that Mr. Ratliff actually allocated those funds to does something other than food as well.
All right, call the question.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
No.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
No.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
7-2, motion carries. Moving on to item 11, ordinance 2025-126.
Ordinance amending ordinance 2025-055, Community Development Program through the State of Ohio's Community Development Block Grant, CBDG, and declaring an emergency. This was added to the agenda by Mr. Ratliff, Mr. Schauber, and Mr. T. Smith.
Ms. Ratliff?
Yeah, so it is coming time to have the application turned in. We had had a whole plan of the way we were going to apply for our grants this year, and in our ordinance that we adopted, we had some wrong numbers, and so Evelyn was filling out the application, realized we had some wrong numbers in there. This corrects that, and we really do need to pass this so that we can get that application done and turned in. So with that being said, I will make a motion to suspend.
Committee consideration?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to suspend Rule 56 first, I guess. I had forgot about that one.
Okay, we have a motion to suspend committee consideration. Mr. Rollins?
Second.
Has the second. When you're ready?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously to suspend committee report. Mr. Rollins?
I'll make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
A motion to suspend 3 readings and a second, it looks like, from Mr. Smith.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries to suspend the 3 readings. Mr. T. Smith?
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt from Mr. T. Smith, and looks like the second from Mr. R. Smith. Any other discussion? Ms. Evelyn? Ms. Morales?
That would work. I just wanted to thank council for entertaining the correction. Extremely timely. I apologize that we had to jump through so many hoops to do that. Secondly, I wanted to, I guess, say happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and particularly those, many of you that are going off of council. I appreciate all of the support over the years and wish you all well.
Thank you. Anything else? All right. Hearing none.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickler?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Happy Thanksgiving. Next, we come to matters not on the agenda, administration or council. Mr. Rollins?
Yeah, apologize. I know we've already been here a long time, but I have a few items, if I may have the floor. First, obviously, with regard to payroll this past week and city employees not getting paid on time, I was just wondering if there were any employees for the city that incurred insufficient funds fees, and if there was a plan from administration to cover those, if that be the case.
Can anyone over there answer that?
I have not received any notice from any employees at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Would it be our policy to cover those in the event someone does report those?
I have not put any such policy in place, but that's not something that's not outside of discussion with the additional administration.
Would we need I guess I'm asking the law director, would we need a motion in order to do that? And then any monies that would be set aside to reimburse employees be claimed against the bond?
So it'll be a lot like the SNAP process we just went through. 2 weeks ago, council said, hey, we want the administration to figure out how to distribute $25,000. You've advised the auditor, you want to be advised if any city employee who didn't get their paycheck last Friday incurred a cost associated with that. If we learn those are there, then we can come back, we'd have to appropriate the money anyway. So I'd probably just ask the auditor to advise the council members if any employee advises her of a financial loss because they didn't get their deposit on Friday.
So I would encourage any city employees that may have incurred those to please see the auditor. I guess next item, if I may, still have been unable to find record public notice of the TIB meeting that took place a little over a week ago. And I was wondering if anyone here was able to find public notice of the meeting?
I have the paper that was stuck on my bulletin board upstairs on the 3rd floor.
Paper on your bulletin board?
Public
That was the
notice.
public notice?
I'm assuming there was one downstairs too, but.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Schauber, I saw your hand before Ms. Lang's.
Oh, well, I was just going to let Mr. Rollins know that at one point, a few employees' River Valley school income tax was withheld incorrectly or sent to the wrong school or something. And then we did reimburse those individuals with any fees they incurred.
Thank you.
Was that it?
No, I have one more item if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question.
Okay.
So on the TIP meeting notice, I'm going to go on the record that in my response back to the auditor's office, her email that was sent out, or the email that was sent out from the auditor's office, I did in fact ask about that meeting being held after committee on that Monday.
It sounds like it was posted on the bulletin board, so
Yes.
very public. Last question, if I may. Do we have an idea, so spent a good deal of time combing through the budget and more time probably on the budget performance report for this past year. Do we have an idea of what funds have been generated to this point during the pink slip program?
I don't have that number, not right now. I can work with utility billing and get that number.
Do you know where I would find it in the budget performance report?
I don't think that you would clearly see that. I don't think it's not like labeled pink sign,
Would it be in the revenue portion of?
like sanitation.
Okay, thank you.
Does that help?
It does, but I don't think it's there. So that was going to be my next. So maybe for finance, if you could prepare some data on the pink slip program because I'm not seeing, pink sign, pink slip, pink slip. Pink sign, my apologies. But yeah, because I'm not seeing it in the budget performance report, so, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from council or administration? Next is reports, communications, and, oh, I'm sorry.
For the mayor, I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Can we squash some of the rumor going around, or is it true? Are we laying off firefighters or police officers, Mr. Mayor?
So I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Yeah. We had a meeting last week with all of the leaders of each department. And after presenting our budget last week, and obviously it being 19 million and change, and we're expecting about 15.4 or so to come in revenue, we had some work to do. I tasked all of the department heads to come back by Wednesday at noon of this week, showing a 10% reduction in their budget that they submitted that we presented to council. So I felt that it was important that each one of those department heads make those decisions, because they best know their departments better than I do. So they will come back. We've had, since that meeting, we've worked every day, every hour with every department to try to figure out where they can take money from and have the least impact on that department. We were in here Sunday, and we're going to continue to do that until December 1st, when Finance Committee meets again, and we will bring you another amended budget. And we'll either get close to that 15.4, hopefully, and you guys will decide whether we use some carryover funds or whether you want us to go back and cut some more. But December 1st, we'll have an idea for you of what that impact will look like on each and every department. But today, as I stand here, I don't know that answer.
Okay. Do you know what they're doing in the senior center to lower costs? What can the senior center do to even lower their cost out there, if anything? Their budget's pretty small already.
A lot of departments have a budget that's pretty small already, but there's areas that you can cut as far as office supplies, personnel. Obviously, our departments, especially the bigger ones, are made up of mostly people. So 80 to 85% of your budget is used on salary. So there's a lot less to cut from in those other areas, but we have found that there are cuts that can be made, and each department is finding those. That's why I say the senior center Steve would be much better prepared to see where he could cut 10% than I could, looking at his budget from the outside. He's on the inside, and he can do a lot better job of finding what there is there.
Well, I was just trying to get an idea if Steve had came to you with ideas yet.
We've met with almost every department since that meeting last week.
The reason why I ask you that is because I feel the senior center is not a department that should really be taking any cuts.
I'm sure every department head will tell you the same thing. That they feel like their department probably is not the area that should be cut, whether it's police or fire or whoever it is. But when you have a budget that's upside down like ours, and we have been historically passing a budget that is upside down, at some point you got to put the brakes on and say enough's enough. And that's where we're at today, is trying to determine, you know, we're holding people to task, and they're going to have to make some hard decisions. I don't stand here lightly and tell anybody that. I wish we could go on into the new year and use carryover money like they've done before, but we can't do that this year.
Okay.
So that's the best I can say, is we're going to continue to work on this. Every department head is going to continue to work on it. Chelsea and I are going to continue to work on it every day to look at the services we provide to the city and see what ones might not be essential that we can cut. Because even if they come back with the 10%, that only gives us about $2 million. So there's still another couple million I gotta come up with to get close to that 15.4.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I'd like to see a budget, but I haven't gotten to see the new budget that they're working on outside of what's in committee.
The one that was presented last week?
The one that's in committee.
Wasn't that sent to all council?
I sent it back to you and I believe another person.
It's attached to the agenda.
To the paper agenda.
It should have been sent to all council.
Yeah, the link is under reports and communications, number 4.
Okay. Well, I'll look online.
Yes, number 4, budget. Ms.
But,
Ratliff.
that's all I have. I mean, I think we do need to take a good hard look and make sure that there's not departments that are fattier than others. The senior center, I don't think has room to move. The police department, I don't think they have room to move on manpower, and I don't think the fire department has room to move on manpower. But I think we all need to be cautious in all the departments for sure. City Hall, I think their supply line items as far as like everything they're using, and talking with Ms. Lang here, the like the supplies, it doesn't seem like that's even being bought in bulk and trying to save money. It seems like each department is spending money on supplies. Maybe the city needs to look into getting that in bulk and then dispersing it.
You bring up a great point, and I'll just mention a few things that we've done in the past year and so many months to try to curb a lot of that. So it used to be every different department used a different HVAC contractor to come and fix their air conditioning or their heater. So we had no bulk buying power that way either. We've remedied that, and while Director Robbins was still here, we initiated a program where we use the same vendor for all of those and get a reduced rate on what we're paying. So we've been able to show a reduction in that. Custodial contracts was another one. Everybody was using a different custodial company, and it was costing us a lot of money. So we hired a third person to take care of all those peripheral places outside of City Hall at a reduced cost to the city. So we're looking at all those. The office supplies is another one. Everybody shouldn't be buying their own office supplies. We should be doing it in bulk from a general place like City Hall and then diverting those supplies out. So you make a very good point. That's also something we're looking at and have already looked at with many different contracts like that, professional contracts.
Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes, I just want to clarify and make sure everybody is being treated equal when you say that departments are being asked to do 10%. Does that include city council? Does that include administration? Does that include the auditor's office? Does that include the law director's office? Does that include every single elected official, like the court, that we historically have not had any real oversight over?
Every single department. And the court was just up today asking for reports from Chelsea to try to find their 10%.
So who's doing city council's budget?
Me and Mary.
Marion, I talked to him today.
And have you found our 10%?
Working on it.
Mr. Arsman?
Yes, as far as, we're supposed to get a raise next year. As far as I'm concerned, you can keep my entire raise. I don't need it.
If I may. Secondly, I will, I mean, I think that something is in the works right now, but I think if city council needs to roll back the raise at to save money for the city, then that's something that we should do, for sure. So.
Then let's do it tonight.
Motion.
All right. I'll make a motion that city council rescind the raise that was put into place at the previous administration last year.
Second.
Mr. Ratliff.
Well, we have a motion, and did I see your hand up for the second? So we have a motion and a second from T. Smith and R. Smith. on
Just a quick
that.
one. There is something within that same ordinance, 2023-052, is the treasurer's raise that's coming up too. So I've already been working on some language to bring that to have before finance next Monday. Because I don't personally want to take that raise from an elected official that ran thinking that's what they were going to be bringing in. So if you guys would bear with me until Monday, I'm sure we can see that and I'll have that language properly.
Yeah, and I was speaking only for myself. I withdraw my second. We'll wait till next week.
Mr.
I'll withdraw my motion if a piece of ordinance is coming to it.
Okay, motion is withdrawn and a second. And Mr. Rabbit, did you have something else?
I was going to re-second if he was looking with, but it's a second at this point, so I will not.
Okay. Clerk has something to read under, sorry?
Mr. Prater had his.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I was just wanting to know, which, we was talking about city council and everything, would that include all of the projected raises for next year?
Well, I think that's what they're talking
That's okay.
about.
Okay.
Talking about.
Everybody, everything, okay, thank you.
We'll be looking at that
I'm done.
Monday.
Including administration.
Yes,
Um,
exactly, let them know, let them know.
Under reports and communications, we have something that the clerk will read.
We received a letter from the Marion Township Zoning Board letting us know that as an adjacent property owner, they have a request to rezone 280 West Fairground Street and 300 West Fairground Street from it's for Goodwill Industries. They are rezoning from an I2 to an OIA. Public hearing will be Thursday, December 4th, 2025 at 7 p.m. This is the first time we've ever gotten a letter.
Is that going to be here?
Yeah, it'll be at the Marion Township offices, 1228 East Fairground Street, Marion, Ohio. It's right off of Madison Avenue.
Okay.
And additionally, under the reports, certified public records training, fraud training, cybersecurity, sunshine training, Ohio Ethics, and Mount Vernon Project were all linked in for members of council. Coming up the first of the year, some of those will have to be completed.
Okay. Thank you. Next on the agenda is public comments. Ms. Dyer?
Terry Dyer, 485 North Grand Avenue in Marion. Since we were talking about food and food deserts, I thought I might make a public announcement about some free meals that are going to be in our community. The John W. Mays Thanksgiving dinner is going to be Wednesday, November 26, 2025, 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. at the rec. Thank God we kept that thing open. Yeah. And that's probably about the 20th year that they've done that. I also see that, if I can get it, a free Thanksgiving Day meal, November 27th, open to the public, carry out, 12 to 1. If no transportation, home delivery is available in the Marion area, 11 to 2, and that's going to be at Dayspring Church. 2431 Marion Mount Gilead Road. So that's free and open to the public. And I'm also going to put Scott Spears on the spot. So if you're offering any free meal, call him tomorrow, 8:15, and say where the free meal is going to be. We are anxiously trying to feed our community. So call Scott in the morning if I did not announce it here. All right. And everybody have a nice Thanksgiving.
You too.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Naomi Craig, 365 Silver Street. Okay, first, today there was we're in fiscal caution for everybody that doesn't know. And there was a statement that was attributed to the finance chair on Facebook that said In reading the release of the state auditor's office, it clearly states that it's not to be released until November 25th. Contacting Mark Russell to verify this information, it's clear that whoever released this information is in violation of state law. In doing so, the public was made aware of the situation before council had even been informed. Someone will be held accountable for early release of information, and there will be ramifications. So I don't know if my question goes to Ms. Lang or to Mr. Russell. Do I need a criminal defense attorney or do I need a civil attorney, because I am being threatened with ramifications for releasing information that the state of Ohio gave me? I got it through a records request, so I'm just wondering what ramifications I'm going to be facing.
You got, okay, so,
I got the records
hold
request.
on. So, this morning at 12:01,
AM.
when the auditor of state sent an email that contained their determination, at the end of which says it's to be distributed tomorrow, November 25th. You got that this morning at 12:01 a.m.?
I'm on their list for public
Okay.
records.
All right. So the auditor of state controlled the release. And as you notice, they released it at midnight today. At the end of that document says for public distribution Tuesday.
And it's on the website, the auditor of state's website.
So if
There's
you
kind
got
of
it,
a-
if you got it at 12:01, it's been shared all day. The confusion, in my opinion, was caused by the auditor of state releasing a document at the end of which says not to be released until 11:25. That created confusion. Anyone?
So I'm not being charged or being investigated for any crimes right now?
No one is in regards to what I just expressed.
Okay.
That the auditor of state.
I just wanted to be sure, because
Okay.
I walked in here saying there's gonna, or seeing that there's gonna be ramifications, and I just kind of wanted to know what the ramifications were gonna be.
Okay.
And I figured you would be the one to take me to court, so you would know better than anyone
But
else.
because it was an error and being released, and the auditor of state saying it's not to be released till Tuesday, it created this controversy.
So they
that's
created the problem.
Inadvertently.
Inadvertently, but they
Yeah.
caused the problem. So
Yeah.
are we gonna get them for inadvertently releasing it?
No.
Give them some ramifications?
No.
Just wondered. So my, I guess, as we're sitting up here talking about the budget for next year, we have 13 funds that are $8.9 million in the hole right now. So don't we need to come up with more than $5 million for next year? We have 13 funds that are $8.9 million in the hole right now, as of October 31st. So I guess that was a month ago, they're probably further in the hole now. So do we need to come up with more than $5 million? Mr. Allen, if you're shaking your head, explain it, please. If you're allowed, because this is all very covert.
So a budget can have negative line items, but there's also revenue sides to that. So just because a line item is a certain number negative, doesn't mean that there's not cash there to cover that. So don't get confused because there's a negative line item that the,
13 is what concerns me, not confuses me.
well, it's concerned us for a long time.
Okay, so the $8.9 million shortfall, are we actually short $8.9 million, or have we not spent it yet? Okay, so that's the same thing the auditor stated, I didn't know. So I guess we kind of need to come up with more than a 10% cut, is the way it seems, but I'm just going to leave that alone because I have something I'm really interested in. The cashless evidence room, the chief explained it to us, and I was kind of interested because I had never heard of it before, so I started looking it up. And it's the norm, and people have kind of different procedures, but it's all pretty standardized. What I can't find is the off-the-books portion of the cashless evidence room. And when I was reading through, it seems pretty standard, like money is seized, and usually they have two people doing all of this. Money is seized, it's recorded with the defendant's name. Once a case number is assigned, it's put with the money. There's a log of all of this, you know, so if we put $3,000 in, we got it from Naomi Craig because she got thrown out of city council. And when they gave it back to me, so when you take the $3,000 to the bank, there's a record of that, of the deposit. When the money's paid back to Naomi Craig because she beat her case, there's a record from the bank saying that the $3,000 came back to me, but there should be a log somewhere. So I'm trying to figure out what is off the books. What is that?
Chief McDonough.
There absolutely is a a spreadsheet that's kept. I think what the phrase off the books means it's not in New World.
Okay.
But we provide all of that information to the auditor, and the auditor has all of those records.
Okay, so you have the records, then I would be able to get those records from you? Okay, and then how far back do the cashless evidence records go? How many years?
It started in 21, right?
Yeah.
So if I requested those, I would be able to get those back to 2021? Okay, because the seeing that we didn't, that it wasn't included, and then we were $300,000 over 1 year, or was it short 1 year, and then $500,000 over the next year? So I just didn't know why we weren't, if we had cash sitting in a bank account, why it's not being audited, I guess, by the state of Ohio. Because it could be significant at some point. And if no one's auditing it, and it's not being included in our audit, I mean, like, is it in the budget? I mean, is there anywhere that we account for it as a city? Like, any of you guys able to see it, or know how much is there, or when it's paid out, or?
Auditor McGinnis?
So, to Chief's point, it's what they're considering off the books because it's not part of New World right now.
Okay.
That being said, that is an easy fix. That is something that we can put into New World. The reason we haven't.
The record keeping by paper and, or spreadsheet, right?
Spreadsheet,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And then there's a log that actually states, you know, just like you said, it's got the date, the defendant, this case. There's also records of
Who handled the money and all that sort of stuff. I'm assuming.
like resolving a case and whatever, and who signs it, where it goes.
And the judge's orders and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I read it all, yeah.
So it's all in there.
Okay.
It's just considered off the books because it's an Excel spreadsheet as
Okay.
opposed to a New World report.
Okay.
It's not included in the budget because it's not a part of the budget.
understand we're
It's
not
completely, it is literally stuff they take when they're.
Right, and I know it either.
And we can't touch it. We
So-
are not allowed to allocate that for anything. That is strictly evidence. It's not ours to use.
When Naomi Craig loses her $3,000 because she got thrown out of city council and she doesn't get it back, where does the money go?
Sits there.
No.
Well, it sits there in my eyes because I see the money come in and it sits there.
Okay.
The money gets dispersed according to a court order.
It's
So
like 10-10-10, isn't it? Did I read that? Like 10% to the
it
prosecutor?
depends on what the court does with it.
Okay.
If the court's forfeit as a drug fine, gets forfeited to Marmet. If the
Okay.
court says give it back to Naomi Craig, it goes back to Naomi Craig. If the court says gets forfeited to Marmet, then that's where it goes. The court decides those things. When we take for drug seizures, when other money goes in there, say somebody turns in to the Marion Police Department evidence room found property, and that found property goes back to Naomi Craig because it's Naomi Craig's money, that's where it goes. So it either goes back to the owner or it is dispersed according to a court order.
Okay.
Those are the only places it goes. It's not city money, it's
Right.
not tax dollars, I can't use it for anything. We put it in the bank because it's not smart to keep it sitting around in an evidence room to get mold, stolen,
destroyed, damaged, all
yeah,
those things.
so unless, the only reason that I want to keep money is if it's important to a case, like if somebody robs a bank and it has die-pack dye on it, that's important to keep as evidence. But otherwise, $1 is $1, and your $3,000 doesn't have to be the same serial numbers to get it back.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, you're gonna get a check from
Oh, the
Fay
bank,
Bank.
okay.
You're gonna get a check from Fay
I was
Bank
reading
for the
about
money
how
that
they-
was taken from you, if
Okay.
that's what the court decides to do.
I was just reading about how money was Xeroxed, and I wasn't thinking about getting a check back, so that makes sense.
Yes, you're
Thank you
gonna
for
get a check.
explaining it.
Yes.
No, no.
Mr. Mayor, how are you doing, City Council?
Your name?
Your name and address again.
Matthew Cooper, 844 Congress Street. I stand before you today, a 30-year survivor of the school to prison pipeline. Now, this was implemented with the war on drugs, and our leadership all came in around the same time, around 94. And under the architecture of Mr. Russell here,
I didn't architect anything.
they created a systematic churn model where they drove our children into the prison system. Now, this was a failed model from the Bush-Ashcroft era. It's tough on crime. And the reason this system has stayed in place is because of the condensed power within our government in Marion. There's a separation of powers issue in our government. And because of that, a few people have gotten rich off of our city's downfall. The war on drugs didn't stop the drugs. It didn't stop the drugs at all. Still came in. Why was there so many drug busts but never did nothing to supply? That's a failed in leadership right there. Now, this conviction machine that they've put together, it's made a lot of our families suffer. We've all lost friends to the drug epidemic. We've all lost friends to prison and death. And I think the city council needs to take a look in and fully investigate and look back at what our founders seen was going to be an issue and created the separation of powers. So, what that has also been able to do has been allowed to slide ordinances and such under the radar, which has allowed a mass surveillance system to be installed underneath your nose. Flock safety. I demand a full investigation into flock safety, what the data is being used for, what data is being collected, because November 20th, 2025, in my criminal hearing, Chief Jay McDonald testified under oath that he had no idea what Guardian mode was. He had no idea what aerodrome was. He also testified to the fact that he didn't know what Operation Summer Heat was, and it was a multi-agency crime suppression sweep by the FBI throughout Ohio. He's the Fraternal Order of Police president of Ohio, and if he did not know about Operation Summer Heat, he's either, there's either incompetence there or straight out fallacy. He also admitted under oath that if a politician went against and did not protect the police, the FOP, him and the FOP would make sure that they do not get elected. That's RICO, ladies and gentlemen. That's organized crime. That's the government masquerading as an organized crime. And we cannot let it stand. I call for a full investigation. It's all public records. November 20th, 2025. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
Madam President?
Yes.
So, Mr. Cooper, you made many valid points, but one point that was totally invalid, that I, Mark Russell, Law Director for the City of Marion, had any part in the architecture of the war on drugs.
It was actually the prison, school to prison pipeline.
Okay, so there's a lot of information Mr. Cooper has shared, but as he also pointed out, he's currently a defendant in a misdemeanor case being prosecuted by the Office of the Law Director. Feel free to look at available records, but it is a pending case, and so we can't make other comments at this time as far as prosecutors. Right, there aren't public records available.
Thank you, Ms. Russell. Anything else?
My name is Kimberly Mayer, 890 Gephardt Street. I don't know what he's talking about, but I would like to find out more. Because, I mean, if we got anything like that going on, we need to know.
You could talk to each other
We
afterwards,
need to know
too.
right now. Because that's not right. This is the first time I've ever been at a city council meeting. I wanted to come to city council meetings for a long time. The fact that we are almost 10 million in debt is a problem. It's a big problem. If we got people over here, anything to do with any of that, if that is right in anything, then we need to look at that. As far as in stuff to do with stop signs, I'm all about keeping people safe. I don't want that, but at the same time, every time I drive down the street, I'm like, there's a new stop sign. Oh, what's this? And I too thought there had to be some sign around it saying it's new. That way, in case we got stopped, we could say it was new. But yeah, if there's anything to do with RICO or any of that, our government, in a sense, is a sham right now as a nation. I don't think Marion, Ohio needs to be part of that. So if we've got shit like that going on, we need to get rid of it and be done.
Language. Any other comments from other individuals? I give you about a minute.
1 minute, all right. So you were told that Flock A, Matthew Cooper, 844 Congress Street. You were told ALPR was just license plates, just takes pictures of license plates. Actually, it doesn't even need a license plate. It'll take a digital fingerprint of your vehicle down to the bumper sticker, scratch, dent, anything. It follows everybody around every day. You 34 cameras with the guardian mode technology. What it does is it takes a picture. It zooms in, takes a high definition picture, whether you're committing a crime or not. Takes it, they can put it in their Flock OS system with Nova and run it on Clearview, what Dave Yost is in trouble for, or was talking about, and they'll run facial recognition. We have 34 cameras doing facial recognition all over town.
And I also know about that.
Sorry, but you have to be recognized, and I haven't recognized you yet. Mr. Cooper, could you come back a second? Could you tell the council where your information comes from? Like, specifically?
Flock, have you ever looked at the actual website and all the brochures and all?
Well, we looked at it, I remember it being discussed before the last, was it the last council?
Well, that's what you guys need to do. We do a full investigation in it, ma'am.
Okay.
Full investigation. I want to know, they should know every full audit, complete audit of Flock is what it's called for. Thank you.
Now,
sorry.
Your name and address again, please.
So, yeah.
Name and address.
Kimberly Mayer, 890 Gephardt Street. But yeah, if we have stuff like that, I also seen something on Facebook some while back about these cameras, and it just randomly gets your stuff. I mean, are we really cool with that? I mean, we're really cool with that? I mean, I know a lot of people are. A lot of people are like, oh, I can just do banking from my phone and do all this. I'm not. You know, I had a DUI one time. I earned it. When I say I earned it, I shouldn't have been doing it. But at the same time, that when we send somebody out with cameras, and even with a police officer with a radar gun, they swore an oath to Ohio. So does our lawyers. So does the judge. So if that's the case, how are they all on the same thing going off of one person? You know, if you got someone that was a police officer and they've got like the gun, like they're doing their radar, that person has swore to the oath of the Constitution. And so has all of the lawyers, and so has the judge. So how does that work? I think that's all that stuff to do with legislation, law stuff, and it needs to be taken back to constitutional law. Constitutional law.
Philip Townsend, 3634 Harding Highway West. I just wanted to say that, you know, you got troubles with the addiction problems and things going on, and we've got Naomi Campbell's Craig's brother getting abducted and murdered, and a confession letter sitting in Marion PD's possession for 40-something years. When you're thinking about laying people off, maybe lay off the lieutenant or whoever, is responsible for that problem. I mean, I grew up right down the street here on Orchard Street. Me and you the same age, you know me. I mean, you know me. And I'm not trying to come at you, man. But, it's kind of like the Navy SEALs. The only reason they are what they are is because they're constantly reevaluating and looking back and seeing if they've made mistakes, how they can be fixed, owning those mistakes. I'm sure it's not proud. It's not a proud moment when this all came out. Sure it wasn't proud for you. I mean, you're the chief of police. You're the mayor in a very unique position that you spent your whole career in the police department, from foot soldier to lieutenant to chief to mayor. I mean, you've got a very unique perspective to say, you know what, we need to go back through here and see who else we've left behind. I mean, there's other cases. You know that. There's other cases. The Robinson girl. Like I said, I grew up, my dad was an executive with State Farm, so I grew up in an executive household. My mom was a worker at Tecumseh Products. So I grew up in both worlds. I've sat in people's house where, I went over to somebody's house to smoke a little smoke and eat some pizza and watch a movie, and then somebody comes in to buy some weed and they tell a story about somebody they just murdered. This stuff happens a lot in there. You wouldn't believe how many different conversations about things. You just happen to be in the right place or at the wrong time, or however you want to say that. There's a lot of information out there, a ton of information out there, that nobody's asking. I mean, I've not heard a word from anybody since the story was released about Naomi. I've not heard a word.
Not a word.
As I said, I'm sure you're not proud of it, but it's leaders lead. You gotta take the strong town stuff and the parades and all that kind of stuff and go eat dinner at the senior center, but you gotta take the good with the bad. You want a strong town, you want your citizens to love your city. Include all of us. Include everybody. Let everybody know that you're going to fight as hard for them as you're going to fight for the wealthy people or the people to have. I just would encourage you and I challenge you to do better. I'm not against you. I think you are trying. You're far from perfect, as we all are. I would encourage you to, you came in 2 years ago. You can't turn back the time, but quit worrying about blaming people. I'm not saying you are, but if that's the case, let that come out in the wash. Let it come out in an investigation. Let's work together. Let's fix things. Let's get things done. I was raised true blue. I vote independent. The last thing I'd like to say is to any Christian on the council, the Bible says, Jesus said, what you do to the least of these, you do to me. Snap. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Y'all clap. Get them out.
Ms. Gray.
65 Silver Street. I do have one thought. I wasn't even going to bring the mother situation up to city council after I got screamed at the first time. But I know we don't have any money now. I would encourage the police department or whomever to maybe hand off some cases to BCI. I know they have some funding. I had begged Marion County to do it for years, and they would not. I think I probably know now why. But there are families that deserve answers, and they might be laying downstairs in the basement. And if we can get some rape kits ran, or possibly solve another murder, who knows? The families deserve that. I didn't need these answers. The people that are all dead, my family, they needed these answers 43 years ago. So let's not make any other families wait a half century and everyone be dead to get the answer to something that plagued them for their whole lives.
I just wanted to answer Mr. Russell, explain to him. I'm Matthew Cooper, 844 Congress Street. Mr. Russell, he invited you guys to look at my criminal case. My name is Matthew Cooper. I was, on June 28, 2025, I was walking down the street on my phone, walking around the horrible sidewalks here in Marion, and I was assaulted by the police. Oh, I'm sorry. I was assaulted by police, and that was to address you guys. Have you guys seen the video?
I believe I have on Facebook.
Anybody else seen the video?
I have not.
I have.
I urge you guys to go watch it.
Mr. Ratliff?
I would just say this. I know we talked about flock cameras tonight, and, you know, again, I've been up here for 20 years, and I've made hundreds, if not thousands, of votes. And I think probably the worst vote that I made was to support those. Secondly, I will say that without a doubt, a representative of this city, and it should be a current or former police chief, owes Naomi Craig an apology.
I don't want it. Save it.
Third, I will say I don't know what happened with the video that was talked about before the video started or after the video started. But unless it was something significant and unless it was something major, instead of being owed charges, Mr. Cooper is owed an apology as well. And so that's all I will say about those.
Anything else? Mr. Chief?
I'll ask the chief of police. What's the funding situation look like for flock cameras? Weren't those purchased under grant money?
Yeah, we have a current contract with Flock through May.
Okay, and has the grant ran out?
In May.
In May it runs out, okay. What's the plan after May then? To come to council to appropriate money for funding them, or?
Well, we have a budget to produce to the mayor, and we will continue to seek funding outside of the general fund because it is an extremely important tool for law enforcement with a long, long list of success stories, from finding an 11-year-old autistic boy who was taken from the west side of town and found at the border of Indiana and Illinois, to shootings, to lost adults with dementia. And the list goes on and on. But it is a budget issue that we will continue to seek funds outside the city of Marion to fund as we go forward.
How many cameras are there in this city?
In the city, or there are 34 in Marion County. I believe there are 19 in the city and 15 outside the city.
Okay.
Yes.
And they don't do facial recognition, and they don't follow people, and some of the things that you were told are untrue.
Okay, I recognize Mr. Cooper first, and then you'll be up.
All right, so we'll get, go back to Matthew Cooper, 844 Congress Street. We'll go back to the reason that, the real reason that, I was stopped on the 28th.
Madam President,
On May
I think
21st.
it's important, if I may, it's important for everyone listening to recognize there's a pending case against Mr. Cooper.
You shouldn't be up there, dude. You should not be talking during the case.
So,
Listen to your lawyer.
I am. Look. Hot list. What's a hot list? Chief?
You're just talking to the council.
Okay, so a hot list, right, so, the reason I was stopping is, I've been arbitrarily put on a hot list. Now, a hot list, what it does is, it don't just go away when those are put on there arbitrarily. They don't even have to have a reason to put you on a hot list. Marion, Ohio has about 1,800 hot list hits a month on their cameras. Now, with a population of 36,000 people, that's 1 in every 26 people are on this hot list. Explain that.
Wait till you think.
Madam President, members of council, as I've mentioned at least 2 times before, there is pending in this actual courtroom a misdemeanor charge against Mr. Cooper, for which there was a hearing on the 20th last week. Mr. Cooper, as he just expressed, is representing himself. But my concern is he's attempting to influence our community with statements that he's alleging, but there's no support for. I've asked the administrator in the city of Marion whether they have a hot list. They have advised no. I think this discussion should end, in my opinion, as a misdemeanor prosecutor, because I don't want to influence a jury trial that may take place within the next few months. And this is the wrong forum for Mr. Cooper to defend himself.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. All right, anything further? All right, we'll move on to committees. Ms. Lang, Airport Plans and Building?
Nothing at this time.
Jobs and Economic Development, Mr. Smith?
Nothing at this time.
Legislation, Codes and Regulations, Mr. Bickle?
Annual liquor permit renewal, 6:30.
All right. Mr. T. Smith, Municipal Services, Parks and Rec?
Nothing at this time.
Public Utilities, Mr. Ratliff?
Yeah, so I'll go 635. We learned earlier that Aqua's got the 17.5 rate increase. Not to be outdone, Columbia Gas is asking for a 21.61, and so we will have a very similar legislation as we did with the water.
Okay, thank you. Regional Planning, Mr. Smith?
Next week. It'll be December 3rd. It's our joint November-December meeting. The county building prospect room at 7 p.m.
Would you state that place again?
Yeah, the county building in the prospect room, which is in the lower level,
Right.
7 p.m. on December.
Okay, same location then. Okay, thank you. Mr. Barr, Streets and Sewers?
Nothing at this time.
Traffic Commission, Mr. Barr?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Prater, Zoning?
Nothing at this time.
And Ms. Lang?
640, old business, 26 budget, and any other items that may arise.
We are adjourned.
Was it the best one yet, Scott? No.